Immortal Cultivation begins with time management. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 501. Tiangong Fan's new junior sister. Is this the Li Ancient Treasure House? Luoyan asked hesitantly. Yes, and no. Wang Xiang Immortal said calmly. Zhong Tian Wangjin is an immortal who seems to be unconventional in his actions and has wild and unpredictable thoughts. It is worth mentioning that although this immortal follows the Taoist path, he is tolerant of other cultivators. Whether it is Buddhism, Confucianism, or even demons and ghosts, they can all listen to his lectures. It sounds a bit familiar. Luoyan hinted. That's right. Wang Xiang Immortal nodded and said, the later Jiri Zhao, although there is no evidence, should have absorbed his ideas. There is no distinction between the disciples. The original intention is good, but it lacks the screening and examination of disciples. If there are criminals who practice with you, then the sins and karma he committed outside will be implicated on you. Why did Jiri Zhao lose in the war between Nen and Jiri? It was because the disciples were mixed and enemies were made everywhere. The two followed the statue passage and arrived at the Li Ancient Treasure House below. The maze walls extended in all directions. The Earth Labyrinth, a very interesting design. Wang Xiang Immortal said leisurely, what exactly does Zhong Tian Emperor want to test by setting up this labyrinth? Observation? Patience? Memory? Or pure luck? Luoyan was silent for a moment and said, I don't know. Actually, I don't know either. Wang Xiang Immortal said with a smile, but I can be sure that the Earth Labyrinth you see now, and the Li Ancient Treasure House at the end, are actually just the most superficial structures. Luoyan was a little speechless. Li Ancient Treasure House is just the most superficial. What is hidden in the more secret depths, the beauty in stone? Use your 5 elements divine light. Wang Xiang Immortal ordered, try to crack this Earth Labyrinth. Luoyan nodded, put his hands together, and the 5 elements divine light poured out from his palms. The 5-colored divine light swept forward, and countless rock walls began to slowly melt. However, the melting speed was too slow, and there was obviously some kind of resistance that prevented the divine light from transforming the Earth Labyrinth into the 5 elements. The strength of the foundation building realm is still a bit of a stretch after all. Wang Xiang Immortal said regretfully, and suddenly exclaimed, red, black, yellow, among your 5 elements of divine light, the divine lights of the fire, water and earth seem to have reached the innate realm. It's just luck. Luoyan said modestly. Actually, it's not luck. The vast water of the North Sea comes from the entrance of the Jiri Zhao ruins in the Wazi Islands. The fire of the sun comes from the Yuan cave in Lidanping, Shushan. The soil of the mountains and peaks comes from the Li Ancient Treasure House on Yuir Island. If it were another cultivator, even if you told him that these 2 items had to be taken from the Yuan cave and Li Ancient Treasure House in Shushan, would he have the ability to get in? Only I, who have both Shushan and Penglai accounts, can collect the 3 innate 5 elements. How can this be called luck? However, perhaps due to the illusionary temperament of his hypocritical personality, the immortal Wang Xiang just nodded in agreement and said with a smile, indeed. Things of the 5 elements, whether innate or acquired, are rare in the world. It is not easy for you to collect 3 of them. Unfortunately, to restrain the Earth Temple here, you need the green innate wood-type divine light, that is, the tree that carries the earth and reaches the sky. This thing must be obtained from the heart of a giant sacred tree. Giant sacred trees are of little use to humans, but are often inhabited by high-level demon clans, such as the Jianmu of the Kanglong clan, the Fuzang of the Jingwu clan, and so on. Any tree with a heart will wither if it is taken. With the escape and destruction of the demon clan, there are no giant sacred trees in the world of cultivation now, but the heart of the sacred tree, the one in my hand, is probably the last one. So I say, old man, you are really lucky, Luoyan. He took out a green thing from his sleeve and threw it to Luoyan. Take it and refine it, so that you won't have to accompany me in vain. Luoyan excitedly took the tree heart. It was green and had delicate veins. It felt cool to the touch like bamboo shoots. It also had a fragrant aroma, like the sun after rain, refreshing the heart. He thanked the Wang Xiang Immortal, and then immediately sat in meditation on the spot, refining this towering tree into the 5 elements divine light. Soon, Luoyan stood up again and put his palms together again to cast the 5 elements divine light. The 5-color divine light poured out like a tide, among which the innate wood divine light of the pale blue was the strongest. All the earth barriers where the divine light passed were like snow under the scorching sun, melting and collapsing in an instant. The entire underground space was razed to the ground, and the exits that were originally located at the edge of the maze had disappeared. Only a large hole in the center of the ground remained, dark and deep. When the earth maze existed before, this large hole had never been seen before. The Wonksai immortal stood beside the cave, looking down slowly. Interesting, Luoyang boy, you should go back first. You can't handle the things down there. Oh, you just borrowed my 5 elements divine light and you were in a hurry to drive me away. Luoyang complained in his heart, but said respectfully, okay, immortal, please take care too. He decisively flew away on his sword and soon returned to Penglai Tiangon workshop, just in time to meet the third sister Liang Ruoho in the corridor. Brother Luo. Senior sister Liang greeted him. I heard that master is going to Kunlun this time and will leave the affairs of the sect to you? Yes. Luoyang smiled. What's wrong, senior sister? Since the death of 4th junior brother, the Shi family of Guangling has sent people to visit many times, saying that there is a young heir in their clan who hopes to take over the position of 4th junior brother and become a disciple of Tiangon Fang. Liang Ruoho sighed and said, it's just that master has been too busy recently and has never had time to meet with the Shi family. Just now, they sent someone over again. If you are free, go to meet them on behalf of master. Really? Luoyang thought for a moment and said, okay, take me there. Meeting is meeting, in essence, it is just to get familiar with the face. As for accepting disciples on behalf of the master, it is absolutely impossible. I think the Shi family of Guangling will not put forward this unreasonable idea. When they arrived at the reception area of Tiangon Fang, they saw 2 strangers sitting on chairs. When they saw Luoyang, they immediately stood up. I am Shi Qing from the Shi family in Guangling. The middle-aged man said with a smile, this is Shi King from my clan, who has the ability to remember everything he sees. Luoyang looked closely and saw that Shi Qing was about 40 years old, looking young and strong. Shi King was about 14 or 15 years old. Although she was a girl, she looked quite calm and composed. When she saw Luoyang, she bowed slightly. There was no awkwardness on her face as if she had seen a stranger. She was very calm. Photographic memory. Luoyang became interested in her. Isn't this a low-profile version of my one hearing, 1000 enlightenments? It's like the superior and inferior relationship between the heart and 7 apertures delicate heart. Master is satisfied with her. Liang Ruoho said in a voice transmission, it's just that he is too busy and has not made any arrangements for the follow-up. How about you deal with it first? The matter of accepting disciples can be discussed after master comes back. Of course, no problem. Luoyang smiled. Chapter 502. First entry into hell. After exchanging a few pleasantries with the Shi family of Guangling and sending the 2 away politely, Luoyang returned to his room and summoned the Kunlun mirror again to read the save. If Eldado still doesn't come out to see me this time, I will really be rude. Luoyang thought fiercely in his heart. Point 4. Unknown secret realm, suspected to be deep in hell. Character identity. Wei Dongliu. Mirror flower water moon template overwritten, in the process of time and space shuttle. Wei Dongliu sat calmly in the dark and sat for another 5 or 6 hours. In the darkness and silence, it is easy for people to lose the concept of space, but Wei Dongliu, with the help of the Kunlun mirror, knew that it was exactly 10 hours and 37 minutes. Of course, according to the Kunlun mirror, the passage of time here is slower than the outside world, so after more than 10 hours here, it may only be 1 or 2 hours outside. He was calm and relaxed here, but the observers behind him couldn't sit still. They had been watching Wei Dongliu here for more than 10 hours, and the other party still didn't show any abnormality. How can this guy be so patient and determined? Master, Wei Dongliu has been sitting for 7 hours. Should we continue to measure? So far, what is the longest record? The longest one lasted for 7 days. But at most 4 hours, he would become restless. Look at Wei Dongliu, his expression has not changed at all. If it weren't for the magic circle showing that he is still alive, we would really think that he has lost his mind. Well, let's stop here. I'll go see him. Wei Dongliu was meditating silently, and suddenly he heard a voice asking. In the void, there is no color and no sound. Why are you not afraid? What is there to be afraid of? Wei Dongliu asked back. If you can't get out for a day, a month, or a year, what will you do? The voice continued to ask. So what? Wei Dongliu laughed. You say this place is a cage, but even if we get out of here, how do you know that the outside world isn't a bigger cage? The voice was stunned for a moment, and Wei Dongliu continued. Above the 9 heavens, where are the stars? Under the yellow springs, what is hidden in the center of the earth? What is the scenery of the end of the 4 directions of east, south, west and north? The world where humans live, no matter whether it is tens of thousands of miles or tens of millions of miles, has an end and a limit after all. It's just a bigger cage. That makes sense. The owner of the voice stepped out of the darkness. He was a middle-aged man with a 3-foot-long beard, elegant temperament, and a gentle expression. Be careful. Kunlun Mirror suddenly said, this man is at the level of an immortal. Wei Dongliu hummed, then stood up and bowed, saying, the head of the Wanfei Tongshuan sect, Wei Dongliu. Wanfei Tongshuan sect. The other party was silent for a moment, and said, before the Taoist tradition was cut off, I knew everyone in the Tongshuan sect, but I have never seen your appearance. I just inherited the Taoist tradition of senior Wanfei, so I founded a sect. Wei Dongliu said lightly, the Tongshuan sect you mentioned, although it has the same name, is not orthodox. The other party smiled slightly when he heard it, and said, not to mention whether it is orthodox or not, at least you are indeed practicing the eliminating demon spirit separating the clear and turbid sutra, which can transform the clear and turbid air in your body at will. Moreover, you should have the bloodline of the Avitai demon lord, so that while the clear air in your body is transformed into turbid air, you can still remain conscious and move safely. Am I right? Wei Dongliu pondered for a moment, thinking that this immortal didn't even know about the chaos demon body, and said, I can't talk about the blood union. No problem. Since the other party wanted to keep it a secret, the middle-aged man didn't care and just smiled, I'm the leader of the Hell Road, you can call me Taoist Luo. Since the demon Buddha Yushin gave you the ribs, he wanted to introduce you to our Hell Road. Your entry here is just a test of entering the dojo. Wei Dongliu thought for a moment and asked, what's the mystery of the ribs? The ribs themselves are not strange. Taoist Luo replied, but it shouldn't be given to you. The demon Buddha lost his ribs, so he was injured. When we found out that he was injured, we can naturally find out about you, and we understand what he meant. So that's it. Wei Dongliu thought to himself, this Hell Road is really cautious. There is no mystery on the ribs, so if it falls into the hands of the Orthodox Church will not be able to find any clues from it. From the beginning to the end, it was the Hell Road that was looking for me, not me looking for the other party. The initiative is always in the hands of the Hell Road. If you find something wrong, you can abandon me at any time. Even the passage that sent him here was one way and disposable. If he was really a spy, he couldn't lead the Orthodox people here, his thinking can be said to be very meticulous. Let's go. Taoist Luo waved his hand and said, follow me. He just waved his hand in the air, and a door opened from the void. Wei Dongliu followed him into the door, and saw that the other side of the door was a scorching hell, with lava like a sea, volcanoes, and the air was filled with the smell of coke, which was similar to the scene he saw in the first line of fire prison in the East China Sea Palace in the past, but it was even more dangerous. He even realized that there was no spiritual energy here at all. On the contrary, the closer to the hot place of magma, the higher the content of turbid air. If it were an ordinary cultivator, it would be blocked in a while and the meridians would be blocked. But Wei Dongliu had a chaotic demon body, so he was naturally not worried about these hell assurers. He just silently operated the eliminating demon upper spirit separation clear turbidity sutra and immediately turned into a demon king with red hair and double pupils. That's right. Taoist Luo praised, even if those hell demons were here, they might not recognize you as a human. Wei Dongliu didn't say anything either, just suppressed the manic and arrogant emotions in his heart, and said nothing. The reason why we have never been discovered in the hell for 10,000 years is because our base is at the bottom of hell. Taoist Luo led Wei Dongliu to continue moving forward, introducing, this deep hell is far away from the human world. Even if you were an immortal, you can't stay in hell for long without a magic method. And hell is completely submerged by the chaotic aura, and even the magic method is difficult to measure. The 3 pure ones have always suspected that we are in hell, but they can't get any clues, so they always stay in the guessing stage. Not long after, a city appeared in front of them. The bricks were made of volcanic rocks, and the walls were like jagged teeth. 2 evil ghosts stood out of the city gate, all of whom were flesh and bones, and no longer in human form. Taoist Luo led Wei Dongliu to the city gate, and the 2 evil ghosts frowned and looked over, with blood in their eyes, but they seemed to be afraid and didn't dare to take action. Don't pay attention to them. Taoist Luo said calmly, I have an agreement with the Demon Lord City Lord. The hell in them are clearly separated and we don't interfere with each other. Before he finished speaking, one of the evil ghosts suddenly spoke to Adonliu in a hoarse voice. Where are you from, Demon Lord? Why are you mixing with this human? Chapter 503 The Mysterious Hell Station. Apart from anything else, Wei Dongliu, with his red hair and double pupils, does look more like a demon than a demon. Wei Dongliu did not speak, so Taoist Luo came out to rescue him and said to the evil ghost, "Don't ask too much, don't forget that your lord promised not to interfere in our affairs." That being said, the evil ghost said hoarsely, and continued to look at Wei Dongliu in surprise. "How can this not look like a human from your side?" However, Wei Dongliu did not speak, and the evil ghost could not entangle him anymore, so he could only let him go for the time being, turned around, and secretly reported to the higher-ups. Walking on the streets in the city, Wei Dongliu looked down at his feet, and saw that the floor tiles were faintly red and hot, as if the temperature was extremely high, and even the soles of his boots were charred black. Fortunately, he was full of demonic energy at this time, all over his body, so he did not feel any burning at all. The 18 hells are located below the Yellow Springs. The environment is harsh, and they collect souls who have committed heinous crimes and are not allowed to reincarnate. Taoist Luo chatted with him casually and introduced, initially, it was just an evil place for exiled ghosts from the Yellow Springs, but as the number of souls increased, cities gradually formed. The deeper you go in hell, the more severe the torture on souls. As for the layer we are in, it is called David by Hell. There is absolutely no spiritual energy here, and it is extremely hot. It is impossible for anyone except the Rakshasa evil ghosts to survive. Ordinary souls that fall here from the upper levels of hell will be immediately captured by the Rakshasas, and their 3 souls and 7 spirits will be torn into pieces to be used as food and currency. The currency they use here is soul fragments. Wei Dongliu asked with a smile. Yes. Taoist Luo nodded and said, "Gold, silver and treasures, what use are they to evil ghosts? Only souls can be eaten and have value." Among the Avidai demon kings, the higher the status and the stronger the strength, the more souls they have. It is said that the previous Avidai lord even obtained the 1,000 demon soul sword, which contains a large number of souls and is coveted by many demon kings. Later, there was a civil strife in this layer of hell, and the previous Avidai lord was besieged and killed, and the whereabouts of the 1,000 demon soul sword were unknown. Taoist Luo chatted casually, but Wei Dongliu listened secretly, and suddenly asked, "1,000 demon soul sword? Isn't it the Jiao immortal sword that the Inca Dao has always been looking for, which is as famous as the other Wangi Shi Jin sword? How did it end up in the depths of this hell? Who knows?" Taoist Luo laughed. Wei Dongliu said, "Oh," and was secretly suspicious in his heart. He felt that the other party was reminding him not to expose the Wangi Shi Jin sword in this hell, otherwise it would inevitably lead to unnecessary disasters. After all, the disguise I made for the 10,000 ghosts evil sword may not be able to hide from the detection of an immortal. However, you think too much, I just didn't use the trump card of disguise. A Jinn, in the future in hell, help me cover up the breath of the 10,000 ghosts evil sword. Oh. The two crossed the street and finally came to the door of a building that looked like a palace. "This is our Hell Road station." Taoist Luo took out a mask from his sleeve. "Take it." "Mask?" Wei Dongliu frowned slightly, thinking how could my handsome and evil face be covered by a mask? If I don't show the characteristics of the Demon Lord, how can I use the Hell Road to brush the synchronization value? Our fellow disciples in the Hell Road all have public identities in the world of cultivation, and they don't know each other. Taoist Luo said leisurely, "You don't want your identity to be known by others, right?" Wei Dongliu sneered in his heart, "So what? My identity, Wei Dongliu, is also fake." However, he did hear the hidden meaning of the sect leader. Even fellow disciples of the Hell Realm cannot trust each other in the outside world. Once their public identities are known to the other party, they may be backstabbed immediately. Why does this sect leader always like to speak in a roundabout way? If I were not so smart, I really would not have understood. With a barely perceptible sigh, Wei Dongliu covered his face with the mask, and felt a cold black mist pouring out from under the cloth, which soon covered his entire body tightly. Taoist Luo laughed loudly, and also took out a magic weapon in the shape of a mask, allowing the black mist to completely cover his figure. Not only did no physical features reveal, but even his spiritual consciousness was completely isolated. This leader of the Hell Road is not simple. Wei Dongliu analyzed in his mind, such a mechanism design leads to the fact that all the cultivators in the entire Hell Road do not know each other, and only the leader has information about everyone. In other words, the entire Hell Road is highly centralized by the leader, and all the others are chess pieces on the chessboard. Even if the chess pieces can guess the thinking of the chess player, it is difficult to have the ability to compete with him because they cannot see the chessboard. On the contrary, the chess player can use the asymmetric information advantage to easily manipulate the overall chess pieces and achieve his own strategic goals. This is also the reason why the Hell Road has never been found. Kingpin's sword echoed, because everyone is on the periphery, the only core is the leader of the Hell Road. As long as the other party stays in the depths of hell, the Hell Road will not be discovered by anyone. Kumlinjing also said with emotion. No. Wei Dongliu suddenly frowned. In addition to the leader of the Hell Road, there is another person, who also has a special status in it. Are you talking about the fortune teller at the Jian family? Kingpin's sword asked in surprise. Wait. Kumlin Mirror suddenly shouted, I found the fragment of the heaven repairing stone. Where is it? Wei Dongliu was immediately refreshed. It's deep inside this palace. Kumlin Mirror said firmly. Understood. Wei Dongliu nodded and said, Don't worry, Mirror. Once I have collected enough information about the Hell Realm, we can start planning. He was covered in black mist and followed the Hell Realm sect master, who was also covered in black mist, into the palace. After passing through several corridors and corners, he finally came to a main hall. There were already 7 or 8 figures standing in the hall, all covered in black mist, and their voices were hoarse and inaudible. Are there any newcomers? When was the last time a newcomer came in? The newcomer this time doesn't seem to like talking. Ahem. Taoist Luo cleared his throat and said, This is the new member No. 9. He will join us in the future and work together for great plans. Master. Another black mist sneered, Have you told him what our great plan for the Hell Realm is? I was just about to tell you in detail. Taoist Luo turned around. Although the black mist covered his head, Wei Dongliu could still sense that the other party was looking at him. Taoist No. 9. Since you believe in fate, do you know, this world is destined to fall into irreparable destruction in 1,000 years? Chapter 504. Building a paradise for humans in hell. For a moment, Wei Dongliu even had the urge to burst into tears. I have found the organization. But he quickly suppressed his thoughts. Years of lurking life made Wei Dongliu's heart as cold as steel. He would not trust anyone easily, so he just pretended to know nothing and asked in a deep voice. The destruction of the world. Is this a joke of worrying about nothing? The hall was silent. One of the figures in the black mist suddenly asked, I wonder how much number 9 knows about Niue mending the sky in the past. Wei Dongliu said in a deep voice, I heard that in the ancient witch clan, there was a great battle between Zhurong and Gonggong. Gonggong angrily touched Mount Bazhao, causing the sky to shatter. The water of the Milky Way gushed out from the gap. Later, Niue took colorful stones to refine and mend the sky, which calmed the flood in the mortal world. Number 9, you only know one thing, but not the other. The black mist smiled and said, the shattering of the sky is not just the leakage of water from the Milky Way into the mortal world. The Milky Way flows around the sky, separating the human world from the outside world. The sky shattered, and the Milky Way flowed away, causing a passable gap between the barrier between the two. Demon. Wei Dongliu immediately remembered after the other party reminded him of this. In addition to the floods caused by the leakage of the Tianhe River, he also read in some classics that during that period, the demons were rampant, so that the big hole thunder in the thunder method that attacked the demons was very popular. It was able to force a large number of human cultivators to practice extremely dangerous thunder methods, which shows how great the threat of the demons to the human race was. Since the sky has a hole, the demons of the outer world can naturally reach the human world unimpeded. The 6th layer of the outer world, the demon king of the self-transformed heaven, led countless servants to attack the human world before Niue repaired the sky. The black mist continued. Later, the demon king was defeated by Niue and fell in the human world. His servants also scattered all over the human world. Only the demon king's 500 daughters escaped back to the heaven. Oh. Wei Dongliu's heart moved, and he felt that he seemed to have guessed the reason why the sky repairing stone had a shelf life. Since the body of the Demon King fell into the human world, we suspect that he has been trying to crack and attack the 5-colored stone that fills the sky leak for hundreds of thousands of years. After Niue, the human race experienced the invasion of the 9th Netherworld and the war with the demon race, which led to the death of many powerful people and the loss of strength. No one can maintain the sky repair place anymore. So what? Wei Dongliu asked bluntly. It is said that Niue refined 2 pieces of sky repair stone in one furnace. Taoist Luo took over the conversation. One of them has been used to repair the sky, and the other is kept as a backup. The backup sky repair stone later broke for some reason and turned into countless fragments. In other words, Wei Dongliu thought for a moment and asked tentatively, "You want to collect the fragments of the sky repair stone and repair the sky leak again?" The Black Fox fell silent collectively. After a moment, everyone burst into laughter. "Hey, no. 9. Do you know what you are talking about? Even if it is a fragment, it is also a fragment of 5-color stone. It was refined by Niwei herself and is also the highest level among the innate spiritual treasures, with the ability to seal and suppress at the level of the Great Do. Now these fragments are either in the hands of the immortals of the Orthodox sect, or they are completely missing. Who dares to hope to collect them? Unless the ancient great power is reborn. Don't laugh," Taoist Luo said lightly, and the voices of the Black Fox stopped abruptly. "It's not wrong to say that we want to collect the fragments of the sky repairing stone. If we can really do it, the leak in the sky will be repaired again, and the world will naturally no longer be in danger of overturning." Not necessarily, Wei Dongliu thought to himself. According to them, repairing the sky again can only last for more than 100,000 years. Unless we directly attack the lair of the demons and solve the problem once and for all, otherwise, wouldn't it be a temporary solution but not a permanent solution? It's just as everyone said, some of the fragments of the heaven repairing stone are in the hands of the immortals of the Orthodox sects, and some are completely missing. Taoist Luo continued, "It is too difficult to collect all the fragments and save the human world. However, if we only get 3 fragments, it will be enough to seal the bottom layer of hell." "Seal the bottom layer of hell?" Wei Dongliu asked in surprise. "It was the human world that was destroyed because of the heaven. What does it have to do with this hell?" Number 9. Taoist Luo asked with a smile, "How do you think the environment of this Avakai hell is along the way?" Wei Dongliu was silent for a moment, and replied, "Extremely bad." "Yes." Taoist Luo continued, "This Avakai hell, the bottom leads directly to the core of chaos. It was the place where the remaining chaos dregs accumulated after Pangua created the world and the clear and turbid air was separated. Therefore, the various rules here are extremely disordered. But if the passage can be sealed with the heaven repairing stone, the 18 hells will lose the influence of chaos, and the rules and order will gradually be restored. Yin and yang will be balanced, the 5 elements will be in harmony, and all things will grow. If we get rid of the evil demons of Rakshasa here, it will be a paradise for human beings. After the destruction of the human world, it can still provide a place for our people to live and reproduce." Wei Dongliu. He originally thought that the hell was going to reverse the explanation and interception, but he didn't expect that they had such a far-reaching plan, and they actually wanted to create a small human world again. That's right. If we continue to stay in the human world after the sky leaks, we will always have to deal with the invasion of the sky river, the sky fire, and the sky demon. If we are not careful, our sect will be destroyed and the race will be exterminated. How can it be comfortable to hide in the depths of hell? If we want to obtain the fragments of the sky repairing stone, we must first let the human world enter the world of great contention." A Black Fox said in a deep voice, "Although the human world has been peaceful for a long time, as long as we seize the first fragment of the sky repairing stone, it will inevitably cause extreme vigilance among the other sects, and the difficulty of obtaining the second fragment will increase sharply." Well said, Wei Dongliu nodded in approval. How could he not understand this truth? That is why I used the power of Kunlun Mirror to create 5 clones at the same time, in order to obtain all the fragments of the heaven-fixing stone at the same time, so that the various factions would not have any time to react. Therefore, only when the human race enters the era of great contention and the intensity of the confrontation and conflict between the various factions reaches its peak, can we try to cover up the time when our plan is exposed. Another Black Mist continued, "At the same time, frequent wars can catalyze the average combat power of the human race to upgrade. When the Dharma ending age comes, more people will survive, instead of being eaten by the demons because of weakness." Wei Dongliu was a little speechless. "So you are hiding here to incite war and incite a sense of justice, right?" "Indeed." He pretended to think seriously, then nodded in agreement and said, "Since we are going to build a paradise for the human race in hell, as a member of the human race, I naturally have an obligation to do so." "Very good." Taoist Luo listened to his lie, not knowing whether he really believed it, but just laughed. "In that case, you have officially joined our hell road. Next, the sect will have a task for you." Chapter 505 Gilinga's Covenant. Kyo Chang Tian, the chief of the Foundation Establishment Realm in Kunlun Tai King Sect, is a person with a clear mind of Tao that is rare to appear in 10,000 years. Just recently, we confirmed that he has formed a first-grade golden elixir with the current deployment of cunning. It is obvious that they want to use the huge potential shown by Qiu Changtian to promote him to the position of leader of the younger generation of orthodoxy, thereby indirectly leading the orthodox heroes. There are no young talents who can compete with Qiu Changtian on the Six Paths side, at least not on the surface. Wei Donliu was silent for a moment and asked, "So you plan to promote one?" "Number 9, we have been observing you for a long time," Taoist Luo said with a smile. "You have the bloodline of the Avitai Demon Lord. Your cultivation progress may not be as fast as Qiu Changtian, but your actual combat power may not be inferior to him. With the power of our Hell Path, it only takes a few years to make you a giant of the Six Paths. At the time, you only need to follow the orders of the sect and let the Six Paths to fight against the Orthodox Church." Wei Donliu listened calmly and cursed in his heart. "Bastard, you are still on guard against me. You must know that in this hell, everyone uses black fog to protect their bodies, so as to prevent the other party from identifying their true identity and prevent backstab. As the leader, your first task after entering the sect is to let me play the role of a giant of the magic path. Then why should I hide my real identity?" On the day when Wei Donliu led the magic path, all the disciples of the Hell Path knew that Wei Donliu was the number 9 of the Hell Path. Then there was no need to cover it up. To put it bluntly, they just didn't want me to find out too much internal information, so they were in a hurry to drive me out and squeeze out the value. Wei Dongliu snorted coldly and said disdainfully, "What's the difficulty? Even if you don't provide resources, I will be able to lead the Six Paths sooner or later." Taoist no. 9 is indeed capable. The Black Fogs laughed together. "It's just that accepting the funding of the sect is also part of the sect rules, so don't refuse it anymore." Wei Dongliu pretended to be upset and simply agreed irritably. Taoist Luo sent him out of hell and stuffed him a jade slip. It is said that this jade slip has multiple copies. As long as you write on one of them, the words will also appear on the other jade slips. It is an extremely common communication magic weapon. Master Luo said frankly that if you are missing something, just write on the jade slip to ask for help, and other members can reply when they see it. Once a month, they gather at the bottom of hell. Everyone can also agree in advance to exchange anything valuable to each other, and the sect will not interfere with this. As for the sect mission, it was also initiated by Master Luo as the master of the Hell Road, and distributed to everyone through transactions. How much work to do and how much benefit to get are all clearly marked in advance. Wei Dongliu sneered in his heart, thinking that this Hell Road is not so much a sect as an anonymous trading platform. In the final analysis, it is the master of the Hell Road who refuses to trust anyone and is only willing to let everyone help in the form of transactions. The mystery is full. After leaving the mountain temple and returning to the town, Wei Dongliu met Jing Monu and Fishin Yaksha who were looking for him. The two are walking over and cursing at each other. Doyaway. Jing leaned threw herself into his arms, hugged his arms, and cried like a pear blossom in the rain. "I thought something happened to you." Would. This was the truth, because if Wei Donliu really disappeared suddenly, Jianglin would immediately face the risk of being caught and killed by the colored moth fairy, so the worry on her face was indeed sincere. "Master." Fishin Yaksha also breathed a sigh of relief and smiled flatteringly. This little girl insisted that something happened to the master, which is really useless. I know that the master is fine. This was also that truth, because Wei Donliu's disappearance was not a big deal. The loss of his handleless locust wood sword was enough to make Fishin Yaksha frightened day and night, so the relief on its face was also from the heart, not a disguise. "Let's go back," Wei Dongliu ordered. "Where did Doyaway go?" Jing Monu asked curiously along the way. "I went to meet some new friends," Wei Dongliu said meaningfully. After returning to Shipping Mountain, Jianglin gave the gamblers he bought in the market to his two disciples. Wei Dongliu returned to the stone house where he lived and told Jing, "Read the file, Lenglong. I want to touch, I want to see the situation of Longhu." "Okay." Kumlin Jing agreed. After reading the file and coming to Daguan Wilderness in the Eastern Empire realm, Lenglong continued to practice as usual, occasionally teleporting to the underwater palace to touch the fox. According to Longhu, she will soon reach the transformation period. The tribe has prepared a lot of resources for her, and has selected elites to protect her. After all, with Lenglong's previous experience, how could the tribe let Longhu go through the transformation tribulation alone? What if something happened? Brother Long. Qin Yi has been visiting him very frequently recently, and they always chat about something. I heard that Sister Fox is going to transform. It's about the same, but I don't know the exact date. Long Long said worriedly, I only know it'll be this month. Don't worry. Qin comforted him softly, Sister Fox has a deep cultivation base, nothing will happen. At this point, seeing that Long Long's expression eased, she said shyly, my brother and I are about to transform, probably around the middle of next month. Brother Long will come to see us, right? Of course. Long Long agreed readily. Although he is a single female protagonist pure love warrior, Qin Yi's little dragon mother is innocent, and it is naturally impossible for her to be sad. Let's slowly warm up the relationship here first. In the future, when the little fox and I escape from the Kanglong clan and deload to Beiming Fanyan, maybe we will have to ask Qin Yi to help. Alas, I am too gentle, which is a bit bad. Long Long continued to practice here. Not long after, Gilinga came to visit again. Why do you stay in the clan all day? As soon as she entered the room, Gilinga asked bluntly, you have already transformed, why don't you go out and make friends with your peers? What's it to you? Long Long asked bluntly, this is the clan land of the Kanglong clan, a certain turtle, please be careful with your words. What are you doing here this time? After the last time in the secret realm of Shenlong Island, didn't our team find the information left by the ancient Chuan clan, and I also received a reward from our ancestors. Gilinga was not angry, but continued, give me a chance, I will treat you to a meal to repay the last favor. Invite me to dinner. Long Long asked in surprise, what evil ideas are you up to? Why, inviting you to dinner means I have some ulterior motives. Gilinga said disdainfully, you have already transformed into a dragon, are you still afraid of me, a turtle who has not yet transformed? I don't have time, no time. Seeing that she used a clumsy provocation, Long Long impatiently drove her away, eat your own, I want to continue practicing. Don't chase me away. Well, okay. Seeing that she couldn't get away with it, Gilinga could only sigh and said, it's like this, eating is just a side job. In fact, I want to talk to you about forming an alliance. Alliance? Long Long frowned and thought for a moment, I can't make the decision on this matter. I have to ask the clan leader, it's not the alliance between the black tortoise and the blue dragon. Gilinga said slowly with a kind of honest and innocent smile, Long Long, it's me who is forming an alliance with you. Chapter 506. Little Fox's Tribulation. Long Long, do you know why that Chuan clan was once called together with your clan and my clan? Gilinga asked with her arms folded across her chest. Why? Long Long asked, remembering the scene in the previous illusion, is it because our two tribes formed an alliance in ancient times? Wrong. Gilinga interrupted him, in fact, before we were collectively called Chuan, our two tribes already had a very long-standing covenant. So long ago that in that era, members of our two tribes traveled in pairs and never acted alone. Oh? Long Long tasted something, paired in pairs, does it mean that there is complementarity in their skills? It's not that there is complementarity, but that the dragon and turtle need to practice together to exert enough power. Gilinga curled her lips and said, we excavated and restored our ancestors' Chuan Beiming divine art not long ago, and compared it with our current skills. The conclusion is that the Chuangui divine art of our Chuan clan is an incomplete version of the Chuan Beiming divine art in ancient times. Our ancestors divided it roughly, at the cost of comprehensive degradation in all aspects, so that the Chuangui clan can practice alone without the cooperation of the Dragon clan. Normal. Long Long commented. After all, we are divorced, I mean, our tribes have broken their alliance, so it is only natural to separate the techniques that we were originally going to practice together. We, the Dragon tribe, do not have any techniques that must be practiced with the black tortoise. They are all the same. So, what do you mean? The ancestor means that he hopes we can try to cooperate and see if we can restore the ancient black tortoise North Sea divine art. Gilinga explained, according to our judgment, this set of black tortoise North Sea divine art should also be better than the existing techniques of your dragon tribe. Isn't this a win-win situation? I suspect that this win-win situation is that you win twice. Long Long showed a doubtful look, I haven't forgotten that your black tortoise tribe is now aligned with the Kulin tribe. I've said that this has nothing to do with the tribe. Gilinga said irritably, it's just that you and I practice together in private. If you can't practice, nothing will happen. If you practice, both of us will benefit. What else do you have to doubt? How do I practice this technique? Long Long decided to ask clearly first. It's not complicated, it's a method of double cultivation. Before Gilinga finished, she was interrupted by Long Long. Stop. What are you talking about? Double cultivation? So you are still thinking about breeding with me? What breeding? Geelinga stamped her feet anxiously. Don't let these dirty trash fill your mind all day long, okay? She explained clumsily for a long time before Long Long understood that the so-called double cultivation of the demon race is not the same as that of the human race. In the human race, double cultivation refers to the exchange of yin and yang between men and women to make yin and yang harmonious. In the demon race, a similar method is called mating method. As for the double cultivation method, it only means that two different demons need to practice together, and it does not include special dangerous behaviors that will be blocked. You want to mate with me, but I won't agree. Humph. Geelinga was still angry, and stamped her feet repeatedly, causing the floor to suffer an unexpected disaster. If it's just practicing together, there's no big problem. Long Long pondered for a long time before speaking slowly. It is true that he is a pure love warrior who can defeat Long Hu alone. However, if he practices dual cultivation with Geelinga and practices the more powerful Chuan Beiming divine art, wouldn't he be able to defeat Long Hu alone better? Alas, for Long Hu, I have no choice. No need to eat. When you are free, just bring the skills over and we will study it. Long Long finally decided to give in. Geelinga was a little speechless. It is obviously a win-win situation. Why do you make it seem like you are paying for me? I don't want to practice dual cultivation with such a dragon. Alas, forget it. For the sake of the ancestor, I will endure it. She agreed to it and said goodbye to Long Long and left. After a while, it was finally the day for Long Hu to cross the transformation tribulation. The area near De Guangzi has been surrounded by the elite cultivators of the Kanglong clan to prevent cultivators from other clans from coming to make trouble when Long Hu crosses the tribulation. Long. At the bottom of Jianmu, the nervous dragon fox hugged his chest and said in a crying voice, "Will the transformation tribulation be difficult? I should be able to survive it successfully." "Don't worry, you are so well prepared, you'll definitely survive it successfully." Long Long smiled and comforted her. There is not even a yin-yang tribulation, how difficult can a mere 5 elements tribulation be? Now turn around and look at the dense array of magic circles on the Duquan wilderness, and ask again, will it be difficult? Patriarch, the array is set up. An elder of the dragon clan flew up to Jianmu and said to Qin Biaoan who was guarding here. Yeah. Qin Biaoan looked at the dense array below. I don't know how much resources the clan has invested in it, just to ensure that the daughter of His Majesty and Long can survive the tribulation and transform successfully. If you still fail to survive the tribulation, it is really destined by God, and there is nothing you can do. As the time point approached, Long finally left Long Long reluctantly and came to the center of the array carefully. I saw the calamity clouds gradually forming in the sky, and many dragons hurriedly left quickly to avoid the range of the heavenly calamity. The dragon fox rolled on the ground and turned into a fox with soft fur, looking up at the sky. Looking at the dense and gloomy calamity clouds in the sky, her ears timidly turned back. Long Long stood outside the range of the heavenly calamity, looking at the frightened look of the little fox, and couldn't help but feel worried for her. Then, I saw the calamity clouds in the sky sinking down, and began to spit out calamity thunder. Long Long held his breath and looked at it, only to see that the calamity thunder was glowing with green light, surrounded by air currents, and it was clearly the kindling thunder in the 5 elements calamity thunder. Rubbish heavenly calamity, just close your eyes and go through it, you don't even need to look at it. The calamity thunder, which was not worth mentioning in Long Long's eyes, but the surrounding dragons were all solemn, as if facing a great enemy. As expected of the person's bloodliner, said the clan leader Qin Biaoan in surprise. Among the 5 elements of thunder, the weakest wood-type heavenly thunder is kindling thunder. How powerful and terrifying are the gold and fire-type thunders, which are famous for their lethality. The little fox also squeaked a few times, as if cursing, and then calmed down and began to prepare for the calamity. She scratched with her little claws a few times and pulled out an oil lamp from under her body. It was the Dongfang Wan Jing lily lamp that she and Long Long had obtained in the secret room of the Fuzan God tree. After infusing the demon power into it, the lily lamp shone brightly, illuminating the sky full of blue thunder. Those kindling thunders actually ignited when they encountered the light, but they burned and melted in a moment. The fox started to cross the calamity in this chapter, and after crossing the calamity in the next chapter, she completely transformed into a human form. Before crossing the calamity, she used the secret technique to transform into a little girl of 13 or 14 years old. After crossing the calamity, she transformed into a big girl of 17 or 18 years old. Chapter 507. Little Fox transforms. After the kindling thunder, the robbery cloud sank again. Long Long secretly tightened his heartstrings and stared at the robbery cloud, only to see that this time it was the Inshuakui Mother Thunder that spit out. The appearance of this robbery thunder is like a jellyfish, with a round canopy on the upper part and a beating arc on the lower part. As for its power and strength, if Long Long were to evaluate it, he could only describe it as very friendly. After all, when he first formed the first-grade golden elixir, the 5-element water robbery thunder he encountered was the Chuanying water thunder. No matter what means are used to destroy it, a large number of small water thunders will be split, almost endless. That's a tricky thing. Your Inshuakui Mother Thunder is just more powerful, but it is not even worthy at carrying the shoes of the Chuanying water thunder. Long Long felt relieved, but the dragons around him exclaimed, "It's the Inshuakui Mother Thunder." Oh no. Hurry up and activate the formation. The Inshuakui Mother Thunder actually appeared in the second wave, and I don't know how dangerous the next few waves will be. What's so dangerous about this? Long Long wanted to complain about the knowledge of these fellows, but he saw that the dragon fox in the distance did not activate the formation, but waited until the Inshuakui Mother Thunder descended to a sufficient height, and suddenly threw out a shell-shaped magic weapon, covering himself in it. What is that? A tortoise shell? Golden like Chuanding shell. Gilinga said lightly beside him, "It's a defensive magic weapon refined by my clan, which has excellent resistance to water-based magic." "Where did you come from?" Long Long asked her with a squint. "Come out." Gilinga asked in wonder, "Is it okay that I haven't left?" "Because the dragon fox is going to pass the tribulation, your clan leader specifically asked my clan to borrow a defensive magic weapon, so I stayed here recently. As for practicing martial arts with you, it's just a side job." "I see." Long Long wanted to say something, but he saw the Inshuakui Mother Thunder in the distance smashing down, completely submerging the place where the dragon fox was. About half a quarter of an hour later, the dense fog raised by the tribulation thunder finally settled. I saw that around the dragon fox, the golden shell magic weapon stimulated by the magic weapon had countless cracks on the surface, but it undoubtedly supported the bombardment of the Inshuakui Mother Thunder. Before everyone could breathe a sigh of relief, the tribulation cloud sank a few points again and spit out new tribulation thunder. Long Long looked at it again with fear, only to find that it was the shimmery true fire thunder, which almost made him burst into tears. "Heavenly tribulation, you are so gentle. I just don't know what grudge you have against me, but you gave me the big fire divine thunder when I was going through the tribulation." Seeing that it was the shimmery true fire thunder, the onlookers of the dragon clan became a little nervous again. Although the lethality of this thunder is not the top among all the fire-type thunders, it is also above average. We still cannot relax our vigilance and take it lightly. Dragon Fox put away the shell of the golden light Chuanding, took a look at the fire-type thunder falling from the sky, and then stuck the pill into his mouth. After refining the pill for a while, he saw that the shimmery true fire thunder had gone halfway, so he calmly took out the Dongfang Wang Jin colored glass lamp. He just shook the lamp pole, and another brilliant light rolled into the sky. Those shimmery true fire thunders were rolled up by the colored glass light, and all turned into fire dragons and poured into the Guangjin lamp, turning into small flames jumping inside. The dragons watching all breathed a sigh of relief, and their tone was full of admiration. She actually cracked that fire thunder so easily. She is worthy at the person's bloodliner. The lower level fire thunder can't do anything to her. Long listened expressionlessly, thinking, that's it? What's the big deal? Can the lower level fire thunder kill people? Before everyone could continue to discuss, the calamity cloud descended again, spewing out a large amount of grey-white thunder. The rock and deep thunder has medium lethality. The only problem is that it has strong defense and is difficult to break with ordinary means. However, the little fox is not lacking in strong killing means. She took out the flying fire crow tube that Long had given her in advance, slapped a palm at the bottom of the tube, and injected true energy. Then countless fire crows flew out of the tube rapidly and crashed fiercely into the rock and deep thunder in the air. The surrounding dragons watched intently, and exclaimed and gasped one after another. It should be known that the power of the demon race's transformation heavenly calamity is proportional to the bloodline rank. The blood of the Dragon Clan is already at the top level among all the monsters, and almost every Dragon Clan member who transforms will encounter the 5 elements of heavenly tribulation. But for a Dragon Fox, even the lowest powered 5 elements of heavenly tribulation thunder has a medium power like the deep rock and deep thunder, which really amazes the Dragon Clan. Long was bored. In the eyes of other Dragon Clans, the 5 elements of heavenly tribulation, which is extremely dangerous, is full of maternal light in his eyes. It's just playing house. However, Considering that it is his little fox who is going through the tribulation, it is a good thing that the heavenly tribulation is simple. After a long time, the group of fire crows and the earth-type heavenly tribulation thunder finally died together. At this time, the calamity cloud had descended to a very low position, spitting out the last wave of nearly a sea of platinum-colored heavenly tribulation thunder, which turned into countless small swords in the air and pressed down with great power. Cold like Shinjin thunder. A scream rang out from the dragon clan. The so-called cold like Shinjin thunder is similar to the cunning Shu thunder. They are the kind that will produce 3 or 4 split-type heavenly tribulation thunders if you hit one. However, the lethality of the gold-based thunderbolt is far greater than that of the water-based thunderbolt, which makes the lethality of the cold light Shinjin thunderbolt far greater than the cunning water thunderbolt, almost second only to the pure Yangjin thunderbolt that Long Long encountered last time. Hurry up and start the formation. At the top of Jianmu, the clan leader Qin Biuan blurted out anxiously, and then realized that the dragon fox in the distance could not hear it at all. Cold like Shinjin thunderbolt. Qilinga also said in a lost voice, "Who can get through this?" Before the voice fell, the dragon fox in the distance suddenly started the many formations below. A large amount of spiritual power quickly rushed to the position of the dragon fox along the formation circuit drawn in advance, and soon turned into a nearly substantial dragon, soaring into the sky. Long Long looked at it with a solemn expression, and found that the dragon seemed majestic, but the spiritual power that made up its body was too complicated, not as good as the thunder dragon he had hit with the thunder hammer before. Sure enough, the dragon only fought with the Shinjin sword for a moment, and was soon torn apart by the gold-based thunderbolt. The remaining thunder roared down again, instantly engulfing the dragon fox. As the calamity clouds in the sky began to dissipate, Long Long immediately stood up and rushed to the place where the calamity was passed. But faster than him was a green light. The Kanglong ancestor had revealed his true form, and in an instant he rushed to the center of the calamity, took the dragon fox out of the ruins, and placed it on the soft grass next to him. Long Long was the second to rush to her side, looking anxiously at the unconscious little fox. The fox was covered in blood, and under its curled fur, there were many deep wounds cut by the gold calamity thunder. Long Long hurriedly touched the medicine, but saw the fox suddenly open her mouth and coughed up some blood foam. Then, her fur began to slowly fade away. Long Long's pupils suddenly contracted, and he quickly took out a coat and wrapped her still changing body. Then, he saw the dragon fox wrapped in the clothes. It turned into a young girl of 16 or 17 years old. There was still the strength to transform. It seemed that she had survived the calamity successfully. Long Long finally breathed a sigh of relief, and saw that the old ancestor Kanglong handed him a crystal clear pill from behind. He stuffed the pill into Long Hu's mouth and fed her some clean water. Long Hu swallowed unconsciously in small sips, and the clean water slid down the corners of her mouth and fell deep into her collar. Long Long hurriedly wiped it for her. What a big front armor. The transformed celestial fox is so terrifying. Yesterday, some readers told me that they still like underage lily foxes. I remember that you lily patients have already developed an antidote. Chapter 508. The summons from the King's Court of 10,000 Demons, inside Jianmu, in Long Long's room. If the transformation tribulation is so dangerous, I don't think I can survive it now. Qilinga said worriedly. Impossible. Qin Zhao denied her statement. The strength of the transformation tribulation is related to the rank of the demon clan's bloodliner. The higher the clan bloodliner and the bloodliner of the parents, the greater the lethality of the tribulation. The implication is that Qilinga's bloodliner rank is not as good as Long Hu, so the transformation tribulation will not be too dangerous. Qilinga snorted coldly and said, "The bloodliner of our Black Turtle clan is not bad, okay? Besides," Qin Yu said timidly, "even if the power of the tribulation is only 2/3 of Sister Fox's, or even 1/3, I don't think I'm sure, the clan will definitely help prepare when the time comes." Qin Zhao comforted his sister and said, "If you really want to deal with the tribulation alone, it's impossible to do it." Long Long stood next to him with a blank expression, pretending not to hear anything at all. Qin Yu realized something was wrong and quickly stabbed his brother in the chest with his elbow. The latter immediately groaned and was too painful to speak. "Your heavenly tribulation will be in the middle of next month." Qilinga sighed. "My heavenly tribulation will come in the early part of this month. It's so annoying." "Sister Lin will be fine, right?" Qin Yu comforted her considerately. "After all, you are best at defense." "Alas." Gilinga was still sighing. Dealing with the transformation heavenly tribulation is not something that can be dealt with by strong defenser. If you can't break the tribulation thunder in advance, you can't keep going like this. Long Long listened silently at the side, feeling like a senior who had already been admitted to graduate school. He calmly listened to his juniors discussing how to take the postgraduate entrance examination. He was in a very happy mood until Gilinga kicked him lightly from below. "Hey, Long Long, let me ask you, how do you think we should prepare? Isn't this simple?" Long Long said nonchalantly, "Don't you, the Black Turtle clan, have that tortoise shell magic weapon? Refine 10,000 tortoise shell magic weapons, and then put them all on your body when you cross the tribulation, and then use other means of attack to slowly fight, right? Where did you get 10,000 tortoise shell magic weapons?" Gilinga shouted. Then she frowned and kept silent, as if she really began to consider the possibility of using magic weapons to consume the tribulation thunder. Long Long was about to say something, but suddenly he heard a cheer, and his head was pressed down by something. "Long Long, Long Long." The dragon fox rushed into the room and hugged him from behind, saying happily, "I have transformed." "Good, good, great." The brainwashed Long Long could only agree with a few words, then pulled her from behind to the front and asked with concern, "How is the injury from the heavenly tribulation?" "All healed." The dragon fox grabbed his hand and said with a smile, "If you don't believe me, go to my room and check it yourself." Cough 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 cough. Not only the thin-skinned Kinyi, but also Qin Zhao and Gilinga started coughing violently. After the dragon fox transformed, he was tough and began to speak fiercely. "What are you still checking?" Long Long immediately shrank shamelessly. After all, there were so many people around, and he still had to maintain a serious image. "Fox, I always believe that you can successfully survive the heavenly tribulation, so there is no need to check this." "Huh." The dragon fox showed an expression of "You are really useless." Long Long was quite helpless. Is this a question of usefulness or not? Didn't you see that everyone was a little uncomfortable? If you want to be unrestrained, do it in private, and don't feed people dog food in public. Be aware of the impact. Dragon Fox didn't care. She was probably too secluded in the underwater palace, and when she came out, she wanted to be intimate with Long Long, regardless of everyone around her. She suddenly noticed that Gilinga's foot was reaching towards Long Long's calf, as if she wanted to kick him secretly. She felt unhappy. The furry tail under their skirt stretched straight, and suddenly lashed out like a whip, knocking Gilinga's calf back. The little turtle was also caught off guard, and was so scared that he suddenly retracted his legs and screamed, "A snake bit me." Where did the snake come from? Everyone stood up and searched around the ground. It was wrapped around my calf just now. Gilinga was still in shock. It may not be a snake. Longhu rolled his eyes a few times and said maliciously, "Maybe it's just a bigger caterpillar." Gilinga was so scared that goosebumps appeared all over her body. A big shell quickly appeared on her back, and then she began to turn around frantically, as if trying to resist an unknown attack. "Where? Where?" "Ah, inside your neck." Longhu shouted mischievously. "Long, save me." Everyone was playing and making noises, and suddenly someone pushed the door open outside. It was Qin Biao Wang, the patriarch of the Kanglong clan. His serious eyes swept across the room, and everyone quieted down. "Longhu, Long." Qin Biao Wang began to call out names. "Come out with me." A call from the 10,000 Demons King Court. Long asked in astonishment. "Yes." Qin Biao Wang looked solemn, and it was an order issued by Yuan himself. "Can I not go?" Longhu asked cautiously. Long and Qin Biao Wang showed speechless expressions at the same time. In name, Yuan is the common monarch of all the demon clans. Long explained patiently, "Of course, this also includes our Dongzhou Dragon clan. Although in fact, the Cunning clan cannot pose a direct threat to the Dragon clan, if the Dragon clan openly disobeys the order and refuses to go to the Dongzhou royal court, it is tantamount to declaring to the world that they have a bad relationship with the Cunning clan, which will bring us a lot of trouble. Besides, the Cunning clan may not be able to use its energy to be enemies with the Dragon clan now." Qin Biao Wang added, "Everyone knows that the Nanzhou Feather clan has only surrendered temporarily, and their peaceful relationship with Dongzhou is still fragile. At this sensitive juncture, Yuan can't force our Dragon clan to Nanzhou, so don't worry too much." Long thought for a moment after hearing this, and the uneasy expression on his face eased a lot. Long was not so easy to fool. He just pondered for a moment, then turned to Qin Biao Wang and said, Clan leader, although the probability of the Culling clan and our clan being openly enemies is very small, Qian's attitude is not clear. We must not take it lightly when we go to Zhongzhou to meet the monarch this time. That's right. Qian Biaoan also agreed with his judgment. This time, I will bring the first elder and the second elder together to take you to the Zhongzhou royal court. The first elder and the second elder? Long Long was secretly surprised. These two elders are the two strongest elders of the Kanglong clan, almost second only to the Kanglong ancestor. Taking these two dragon elders to Zhongzhou was obviously to intimidate Qian and tell him not to be confused and do something that will embarrass both sides. So, what exactly is the matter that requires the dragon clan to take a tough attitude and even send out two dragon elders? Long Long glanced at Long Ho from the corner of his eye, his mind sinking slightly. For example, trying to get involved in the immortal bloodline through an arranged marriage. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novelers, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelers. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 509. You should reflect on yourself. Before heading to the Zhongzhou royal court, Long Long planned to read a file. The reason was simple. He had only been promoted to the Jindan realm for a short time, and he needed to adapt to the sudden increase in combat power and the fighting style of the Jindan monks as soon as possible. Jin, read the file of Qiu Chain's Iron. Long Long said calmly. Okay, point 1, Kumlin Jing said suddenly, are you disappointed that the little fox has grown up? Of course, Long Long almost let it slip, no. Growing up is a good thing. They are obviously more than 100,000 years old, but they always look like minors. Is that appropriate? Shut up. You broken Jin, read the file for me. Point 1. Kumlin Tai King Sect, Jin Line. Character identity. Qiu Chain's Iron. Mirror Flower Water Moon template is overwritten, and he is traveling through time and space. Qiu Chain's Iron finished breathing in a cave, and felt that after condensing the Jindan, the speed of absorbing and exhaling the spiritual energy between heaven and earth increased by more than 100 times. In the Danton, the sea of Qi rotated faster, and the true essence in it almost condensed into liquid, thick, vigorous and abundant. After breathing in and out, Qiu Chain's Iron planned to get up and call his junior brothers and sisters to start preaching. Then he suddenly remembered that he was no longer the chief at the foundation building realm, and now it was Yu Yingyan's turn to preach and answer questions. No wonder his junior sister was away all morning. Thinking of this, Qiu Chain's Iron set off for the suitor library, ready to start fishing and lying down. As a Jintan's Hinran, although he has to undertake various grassroots work of the sect, cultivation is still the most important after all. In addition, Qiu Chain's Iron was now assigned to a librarian job that was extremely leisurely, so he was even more happy to do it. After arriving at the suitor library, Elder Zhu, who was originally in charge of guarding this place, handed him the forbidden magic array and techniques of the suitor library. The first floor is divided into two areas, inner and outer. Only inner disciples can enter the inner area. The stairs to the second floor are deep in the inner area. Only Jindan's Hinran can go upstairs. Yuning elders usually don't come to the suitor library. If they come, you need to accompany them throughout the whole process. Whether it is borrowing books or storing books, just cooperate with them. Junie will remember it. Qiu Chain's Iron said seriously. Don't be so serious, Chainkan. Elder Zhu said with a smile, the suitor library doesn't need you to do anything most of the time. You just need to sit here. After Elder Zhu left, Qiu Chain's Iron sat down in her seat and closed her eyes calmly to rest. When she closed her eyes, she saw small words popping up in the upper right corner within her sight. Invincible setting, synchronization value +1. Invincible setting, synchronization value +1. In the past, because the Kumlin mirror would give a voice prompt, Qiu Chain's Iron didn't pay much attention. Later, the synchronization value increased so frequently that the broken mirror was too lazy to report the number, and Qiu Chain's Iron no longer paid attention to it. It was just like a billionaire would not pay attention to how much money he made every day, which was very reasonable. As for why he could quickly increase the synchronization value even if he sat there doing nothing, it was naturally because after years of hard work, Qiu Chain's Iron's invincible personality had been deeply rooted in people's hearts, and synchronization value could be generated every moment. Perhaps at this moment, and in the next second, in a corner of the cultivation world, such a conversation was taking place. Have you heard of Kumling Qiu Chain's Iron? That person has formed a first-grade golden elixir. Wow, so powerful and invincible. Isn't the synchronization value going up? In a sense, Qiu Time at this time is already very close to a capitalist. Even if he sits there and does not work, there is a steady stream of non-labor income coming in every moment. The whole cultivation world is my leagues. Hello, Master Changjiang. Several inner disciples entered the suitor library. Let's borrow a book. Qiu Time sat upright and nodded slightly. Although his demeanor was quite solemn, almost all of the inner disciples of Kunlun Foundation establishment realm were familiar with him, so they were not in awe of him. They just greeted him cordially and then went about their own business. Sitting there was very boring, so Qiu Time went to the bookshelf nearby and took down a jade slip to read. This jade slip tells the history of Kunlun Taiping sect, and it is also written in a very interesting way. It is said that the predecessor of Taiping sect, ancient Kunlun, was originally just a branch of the school of Jinism stationed in Kunlun Mountain. Because it is far away from the Shenzhou continent and has endless plateaus and snow-capped mountains as cover, the school of Jinism stored a large number of documents and books here, which is the so-called Yuxu Tibetan scripture place. In addition to ancient Kunlun, there are many unorthodox sects stationed here, such as the Divine Fire sect that established the secret realm of the Queen Mother of the West. After the disintegration of the school of Jinism, ancient Kunlun fought with these unorthodox sects for thousands of years and finally wiped them all out. In the process of ancient Kunlun evolving into Kunlun Taiping sect, there are 4 surnames worth mentioning, namely Zhu, Luo, Zhao, and Ji. For a long time, these 4 families supplemented many cultivators for ancient Kunlun, and were also the main contributors to the establishment of Kunlun Taiping sect. Seeing this, Qiu Time put the jade slip back on the bookshelf. The 4 major families of Kunlun do indirectly control many confidential positions in Taiping sect, but the world of cultivation is ultimately based on cultivation. For example, I, Qiu Time, am not from one of the 4 major families at all, but I am still doing well and making progress step by step. What are you thinking about, brother? Someone patted him from behind. Qiu Time turned around, and the beautiful and delicate face of junior sister Zhu came into view. Junior sister, have you finished your lecture? He asked with a smile. Yes. Zhu Yingyuan nodded slightly. Originally, I wanted to go with my senior brother to find clues about the traitor in the Zhu family in history. But my senior brother has now formed a first-grade golden elixir, and it is the time when the world is paying attention to him. Master also told me to let my senior brother practice in the suitor library with peace of mind. I can't let my senior brother accompany me out. Wait a few more months. Seeing that junior sister Zhu was so considerate, Qiu Time smiled and touched her black hair. When the news is over, senior brother will conceal his identity and quietly accompany you out. How about it? Before he finished speaking, Zhu Yingyuan's face suddenly turned red. Qiu Time was startled, and then he remembered that junior sister Zhu was not a little fox, and he couldn't let him touch her casually. He quickly retracted his hand, wiped it with the hem of his robe, and forced a change of subject. By the way, with junior sister's cultivation, you should be able to reach the threshold of the 2nd grade golden elixir, right? Yeah. Zhu Yingyuan turned her head away, not letting Qiu Time see her blushing cheeks. When I reach the threshold of the 2nd grade golden elixir, I will directly form the elixir. Qiu Time. Wait, you are not junior sister Zhu, right? Junior sister Zhu is the kind of person who is super strong and never admits defeat. Zhu Yingyuan's voice was soft, and she continued. The 1st grade golden elixir is too troublesome. Not only does it require 400 years of Watu cultivation, but you also have to collect the Purple Mansion secret medicine that matches the 5 elements. If after 100 years, it is found that it cannot reach the 1st grade standard, then if you form a 2nd grade golden elixir at the time, your cultivation will lag behind senior brother by at least 100 years. At the end, her voice was as light as a mosquito. I don't want to be left behind by senior brother, that's it. Qiu Time was stunned on the spot. TSK. In his mind, the Kunlun mirror suddenly said, look, junior sister Zhu isn't competing with you all day long just because she wants to be strong. She just doesn't want to be without you on her path of cultivation. Chengyuan Zhu, you should reflect on yourself. I originally wanted to write that after Qiu Time heard what the Kunlun mirror said, he asked 3 inexplicable question marks, but after thinking about it, he stopped writing. Maybe it was because he couldn't continue to deceive himself at this time. Chapter 510. Flowers in the mirror and moon in the water. Half a month later. Elder Mizi, this is the jade slip you asked for. Kyo Chang's time came down from the upstairs and handed the jade slip to the elder Mizai of the criminal law hall. Well. The elder Mizai showed a kind smile. Thank you for your hard work, Changjeng. The Kunlun disciples passing by quickly avoided him with their sleeves covering their faces as if they had seen a world-shaking spectacle. Doesn't the elder Mizai of the criminal law hall always have a cold face that is intimidating without anger, and never gives a good face to anyone? Thinking carefully, the person opposite is the Chief Kyu. That's fine. Although Kyo Chang's time has already formed a pill and won the Taoist name of Changjeng's Hinran, the disciples in the Foundation building realm still like to call him Chief Kyu in private. This gives a feeling of I was familiar with him when he was still the chief and a sense of honor. Kyo Chang's time sent the elder Mizai away and returned to his original position again. He put the thunder hammer and thunder comb together under the table and gently collided them. There were tiny silver white arcs jumping lightly from the surface of the thunder god cone. After collecting the hammer cone, Kyo Chang's time could use this pair of thunder instruments to carefully comprehend the method of practicing takes out thunder. The 9th thunder among the 10 thunders was extremely difficult to learn. Even though he had the talent of a clear mind and could read and comprehend various classics without distraction, it was strange that he had not made any progress in learning takes out thunder. At noon, Zhu Yingyan came to the suitor library as scheduled, but she didn't come to have lunch with him, but just came to see her husband after she finished teaching the scriptures to her junior brothers and sisters. Don't you have any clues about your thunder method? Seeing him frowning and playing with the pair of hammer cones, Zhu Yingyan asked. Alas. Kyo Chang's time shook his head. I suspect that maybe I have to reach the nascent soul stage before I can comprehend the last 3 thunders. Don't worry too much about the thunder method. Zhu Yingyan sat down beside him and comforted him gently. This thunder method is too obscure. It's normal that it's difficult to learn. Her voice paused for a moment, and then she said casually, I have almost practiced the bloodline of magical power left by my ancestor Feng Tong, Hilly. Kyo Chang's Iron. After so many years of getting along with Junior Sisters Yu, how could he not understand the subtext of Junior Sisters Yu's words just now? When I reach the Golden Core stage, you may not be my opponent. I'm sorry, Junior Sisters Yu, but unfortunately that's impossible. Unless I let him go. He was just about to tease his junior sister with a smile when he suddenly heard a voice next to him. Changjeng. Excuse me. Oh, Senior Sister Xilin. Kyo Chang's time quickly stood up. Do you want to borrow some classics? Zenran Xilin shook her head and sighed. Junior brother Kyo from my inner sect has disappeared recently. Has junior brother Changjeng seen him? I've seen him a few times. Kyo Chang's time nodded and said, Junior brother Kyo has been coming to the suitor library to read classics recently, but I didn't see him yesterday or the day before yesterday. Alas. Zenran Xilin sighed. I asked around, and there was nothing wrong with him before he disappeared, and he didn't make an appointment to go out with other brothers and sisters. No one knows why he suddenly disappeared. I see. Kyo Chang's time understood. Senior Sister Xilin wants to confirm whether junior brother Kyo has read those classics recently and found some clues to the immortal ruins in the books, so he rashly went out to explore alone. That's right. Master Suling nodded and said, I just don't dare to bother junior brother Changjeng too much. Master doesn't have too much hope for this, so junior brother, just confirm it when you are free. Kyo Chang's time knew that Master Suling didn't want to owe him too many favors. After all, no matter who's what full-level disciple, in order to make a top-grade golden elixir, one must have at least 200 years of Immortal Cultivation. Therefore, going out to find the secret medicine of Zaifu was also a miss for the Immortal level. If junior brother Kyo went to explore some immortal ruins and didn't tell anyone before leaving, who would be able to find out where he went afterwards? Therefore, Master Suling's master only took the attitude of doing his best and leaving the rest to fate, and didn't want to trouble Kyo Chang's time too much about this matter. After the senior sister left, Zhu Yingyan sighed and said, although I can understand, junior brother Kyo was too arrogant. Since it is a relic that has never been explored, you should not go alone. At least you should bring a fellow disciple with you. Junior Sisters Yu, this is what you don't know. Kyo Chang's time shook his head. How precious is the Purple Mansion secret medicine? Even if they are fellow disciples, in that unknown relic, facing the precious Purple Mansion secret medicine, the possibility of killing each other cannot be ruled out. Junior brother Kyo chose to go alone, and did not reveal any clues to anyone before leaving. This is a more cautious performance. Junior brother Kyo's behavior is commonplace in the Immortal Cultivation flow. If you get a clue to a treasure, even if you tell others half a word, you will be criticized by a bunch of readers. After all, everyone wants to see the protagonist monopolize the benefits. It's not wrong to think so, but junior brother Q's strength is not strong enough to deal with the dangers in the ruins independently. Since he went alone, no one could help him when he was in danger. Qiu Changtime thought to himself, stood up, and wanted to check the borrowing records of the classics in the suitor library during this period. When Elders Yu was here, although there was a borrowing record book in the suitor library, basically no one registered it consciously. Fortunately, Qiu Changtime was cautious. How could he not be cautious when he was a spy? If a Foundation Establishment Realm disciple wanted to borrow a classic book to go out, he would definitely ask the other party to leave his name and the title of the book, so he could find clues about junior brother Qiu. After flipping through it for a while, he stared at the face of the scripture, and his brows slightly frowned. What's wrong? Zhu Yingyan asked curiously, is there no record? No. Qiu Changtime shook his head and said with a puzzled look, junior brother Qiu has been borrowing a certain book since half a month ago. According to the rules of the Sutra repository, disciples in the Foundation Establishment Realm can only borrow classics for 3 days, and then they must come back to return or renew the loan. Junior brother Qiu registered 5 times here, which means he renewed the loan 5 times. 5 times? Zhu Yingyan was also surprised. What book is it? The title is, Qiu Changtime hesitated for a moment, Mirror Flower, Water Moon. Mirror Flower, Water Moon? Zhu Yingyan said, I've read it at the Zhu family before, but it's a travelogue of an immortal pretending to be a novel. But this book is not an out-of-print copy. You can buy a copy for 12 copper coins in the market outside. Why did junior brother Qiu come here to borrow it 5 times? There must be something fishy here. Qiu Changtime said in a deep voice, I saw the record. The last time junior brother Qiu brought the book back, he didn't borrow it. That is to say, the copy of Mirror Flower, Water Moon must still be in the suitor library. Zhu Yingyan smiled faintly. Junior sister, will you come with me to see it? Okay. Chapter 511. Thunder strikes the sea town, evil spirit and disaster cloud. In the suitor library, Qiu Changtime found the book Mirror Flower, Water Moon. He returned to his seat, laid the book flat with junior sister Zhu, and then carefully opened it. The pages of the book were slightly yellowed, and the ink was old and dim, as if it had been there for a long time. Zhu Yingyan flicked through the book from beginning to end, read it quickly, and then shook his head in confusion. No problem, are you sure that junior brother Qiu borrowed this book? In the suitor library, there are no extra copies of all the miscellaneous books. There is only this copy of Mirror Flower, Water Moon. Qiu Changtime replied. He pulled the book in front of him and called out, a jinn, scan it. After waiting for a long time, Kunlun Mirror hesitated and said, strange, what's strange? There is a thread of space in it. Kunlun Mirror replied. Space threads. Qiu Changtime pondered for a moment and scolded it, a jinn, speak human language, and don't speak mirror language. For example, if there are 2 independent spaces that are not connected to each other. Kunlun Mirror did not get angry with him, but explained, then the creatures in this space will definitely not be able to wend to the other space. However, in most cases, 2 adjacent spaces often have a lot of adhesion. For example, secret realms often have entrances and exits. These channels that grow from the edge of the space and adhere to other spaces are the so-called threads, just like the threads that sew different fabrics on clothes. So what you mean is, I guess your junior brother Qiu must have accidentally touched the thread of the space through some method. Kunlun Mirror said thoughtfully. And then he traveled through it. Qiu Changtime asked in surprise. That's about it, that's what I mean. Kunlun Mirror replied, I was pulled by the thread and crossed to the space on the other side. What is the space on the other side? I don't know, it's a big cave. Qiu Changtime thought for a moment, turned to Zhu Yingyan and said, there is a cave in this book. How did you know? Zhu Yingyan asked with eyes wide open in disbelief. Let's not talk about this for now. Qiu Changtime asked with a smile, junior sister, are we going in? Don't forget, junior brother Qiu was a disciple of the Water level. The cave that allows him to hide it from everyone and explore alone is likely to contain the secret medicine of the Purple Mansion. Indeed. Zhu Yingyan was immediately moved, but how do we get in? Let me check it again. Qiu Changtime said confidently and calmly, turned around and asked Kunlun Mirror. Mirror, how do we get to the cave? Oh, it's very simple. Kunlun Mirror said lightly, I'll do it. As soon as the voice fell, the two felt the sky spinning, and then appeared in a strange world. There seemed to be an island below, surrounded by endless ocean. Above the two were layers of dark clouds. Although they looked like robbery clouds, they did not have the solemn atmosphere that permeated the sky and earth. They seemed to be just ordinary cumulonimbus clouds. Qiu Changtai and Zhu Yingyan looked at each other and quickly landed on the island below. There was a large town in the middle of the island, with houses lined up in rows. It was roughly estimated that there were about 1,000 households. At this time, the residents were gathering in the open space in the center of the town, shouting at the mayor in indignation. Dozens of armed guards holding spears were seen murderously dispersing the residents and forcibly driving them back to their respective residences. Qiu Changtai and Zhu Yingyan suppressed the sword light and landed in the center of the town. The guards around them immediately showed a look as if they were facing a great enemy and rushed over with spears. "Wait, stop it." The mayor hurriedly called the guards to stop, then walked forward cautiously, bowed and said, "Greetings to the two immortals. No need to be polite." Qiu Changtai said gently, "Let me ask you, have you ever seen such a cultivator?" He briefly described the appearance and clothes of junior brother Qiu, and the mayor immediately nodded and said, "I have seen it. I have seen it." The immortal said he wanted to help us solve the problem of lightning strikes. After taking the lightning-proof pill, he rushed directly into the thundercloud. "Thunder strike?" Zhu Yingyan asked in surprise. "It's not safe here." The mayor stared at the cumulonimbus cloud above his head and said with fear, "Please follow me, two immortals, I will explain it later." He ordered the soldiers to return to their respective posts, and then took the two back home, closed the door, and called his wife to pour tea for them. "So that the two immortals know." The mayor said with a bitter face, "The two immortals should have seen the thunderclouds above our heads, right?" "Yes." Qiu Changtai nodded slightly. "Our town is called Thunder Town. According to the records left in the town, the thundercloud above is called Evil Spirit Cloud, which is the gathering of evil spirits after death." The mayor sighed and said, "About every 100 years, it will descend on the island once. When the evil spirit cloud descends, everyone must stay at home and not be in the open air, otherwise there is a certain chance of being struck to death by thunder." "That's strange." Qiu Changtai pondered. He was practicing the Five Thunders law, so he naturally knew that such thunderclouds were often born for a certain target, and if they were to be struck, they would be struck to that specific target. This is the first time he has heard of thunderclouds that randomly kill people indiscriminately and on a large scale like the mayor said, but considering that it is the condensation of evil spirits, perhaps it is essentially a demon with intelligence. If that's the case, why did those residents gather outside just now? Zhu Yingyan asked puzzled. "Alas," the mayor said dejectedly, "once the evil calamity cloud comes, it will stay over the island for a period of time, but the length of time is unknown. It can be as short as a few days or as long as more than 10 days. At first the calamity cloud is not active, but if someone is killed by lightning, the calamity cloud will grow a bit bigger and the stay time will be extended accordingly. If 30 or 40 people die, the calamity cloud will cover the entire island, making the day as dark as night, and it will stay for at least half a year. By then, every household will suffer a catastrophe. So, according to the instructions of our ancestors, I strictly ordered the residents of the town to stay at home and not go out before the calamity cloud leaves, but, oh." Zhu Yingyan was also a smart man and understood immediately, there are also rich and poor differences among the residents. If they are not allowed to go out to farm and fish, the rich may be able to hold on for 10 days, but the poor run out of food in a few days. "That's right." The mayor sighed, "I have already talked to the wealthy families, hoping to allocate some food to help the poor." Qiu Changtai and Zhu Yingyan looked at each other for a moment, sighing in their hearts. It is difficult for people to share their joys and sorrows. In times of natural disasters, it is good enough for the rich not to sell grain at high prices, let alone provide relief for free. Fortunately, at this time, the immortal Yu-2 looking for suddenly appeared and said that he wanted to remove the evil cloud in the sky for the town. The mayor said carefully, "I followed the instructions of my ancestors and gave him a lightning-proof pill left by my ancestors." The immortal turned into a sword light and rushed into the cloud to cast a spell. "Then what?" Zhu Yingyan continued to ask. Then, there was no news of the immortal. The mayor said with a sad face. Although his demeanor was quite natural, Zhu Yingyan was a very perceptive person after all. He keenly caught a hint of unnaturalness in it, and immediately glared and shouted, "What are you hiding? Why don't you tell the truth?" The mayor was frightened and immediately knelt down on the spot, crying, "It has nothing to do with me. Please look into it, the immortal. I have repeatedly warned you, but there are still 6 or 7 unruly people in the town." After the immortal rushed into the evil cloud, they still ignored the ban and secretly went out to sea. Later, the cloud killed one of them, and the remaining 5 or 6 fled back to the town in a panic. I immediately knew something was wrong, and found that the cloud in the sky had grown a lot, and the sword light in the cloud had gradually lost its strength, and finally dimmed. I think it was the immortal who was harmed by the cloud, but it was not me who harmed him secretly. It's just that I can't do anything about it. The mayor cried and said bigly. Qiu Changtai and Zhu Yingyan exchanged glances again, and their faces became a little complicated. This junior brother Qiu, how should I put it, he was really unlucky. At the critical moment of the battle with Jiun, he happened to encounter a town resident who went out to sea without permission and was killed by lightning, which made Jiun stronger. It was this straw that broke the camel's back, which led to his unfortunate death. Chapter 512. Senior brother learns, junior sister jumps in the face. Zhu Yingyan ordered the mayor to bring the fisherman who killed junior brother Qiu. The mayor accepted the order and left as if he had been pardoned. Qiu Changtai sighed and asked, "Junior sister, how were you going to deal with those people?" "Of course, kill them," Zhu Yingyan said seriously. "Oh?" Qiu Changtai was slightly puzzled. "I guess those people had no choice. After all, if there was enough food at home, who would risk going out fishing?" "I naturally know what you said," Brother Zhu Yingyan said calmly. "Just imagine this scene, brother. If you were fighting with a monk from the demon sect in the mountains, and a hunter was hunting outside the forest, he mistook your figure for a white deer and shot an arrow at your back, causing you to be distracted for a moment. As a result, the monk from the demon sect took the opportunity to injure you, and most of your lifelong skills were destroyed, so you had to flee in embarrassment. Then afterwards, when you find the hunter who mistakenly harmed you, how would you deal with him?" Qiu Changtai smiled bitterly, understanding what his junior sister meant. According to his junior sister's hypothetical scenario, although the hunter did it unintentionally, but 100 years of hard work was destroyed because of him. If he didn't kill the hunter's family to vent his anger afterwards, he would be considered to have a good temper. This has nothing to do with the orthodox sect or the evil sect. It is just that the loss is too great, and if the hatred in the heart is not vented, it will sooner or later produce a demon in the heart. We orthodox people act with the words emotion and reason. Zhu Yingyan said sternly, "Those fishermen went out to sea without permission for their own livelihood, which is pitiful. But it is a fact that they killed our Kunlun people, and it is unforgivable. We executed them to avenge our fellow Kunlun disciples, which occupies the word reason. Before taking action, we explained the facts to them and promised not to harm their wives and children, which fulfilled the word emotion. Being reasonable and never overstepping the boundaries is the style of the orthodox way. Junior sister, you're right, I will teach you." Qiu Changtai pondered for a moment and said seriously. From these conversations, he could see that junior sister's use ancient thinking and his own modern thinking were indeed obviously different in many places. Modern people pay attention to people-oriented and are used to wrapping everything in the warmth of human touch. So in thinking about how to deal with those fishermen, even if they have great perseverance, wisdom and determination, they will inevitably subconsciously put themselves in the shoes of the other party and think about them a little. Sister's use logic is much simpler and clearer. If you accidentally kill my Kunlun people, you must pay with your life. As for whether you have your own difficulties, that is 2 different things. One thing is one thing, no matter how big the difficulties are, you have to die, you have to die. Speaking of this, Qiu Changtai thought of the so-called massacre problem. The so-called massacre problem means that if the enemy is in the outer city, there are 2 results if you organize the residents to resist the enemy. Successful defense is the best, but failure will most likely lead to massacre. But if there is no resistance, although the probability of massacre is reduced, the residents in the city can only be slaughtered, and the degree of losses between successful defense and massacre by the enemy. The reason why it is called the massacre problem is that when faced with this problem, any human group will inevitably be divided into 2 factions, namely the surrendered faction and the fighting faction. Since the results of choosing to fight are highly uncertain, and humans have a natural instinct to aversion to risks, the more peaceful at times, the more people with weak wills there are, and the more people who choose to surrender. Qiu Changtai is a time traveler after all. Although he carries a heavy mission as a savior and his will is much tougher than that of ordinary people, it is inevitable that there are still some traces of modern thinking. On the other hand, if Junior Sisters Yu encounters this kind of massacre problem, she will probably control all the surrendered factions directly and force them all to fight on the city wall. There are still many merits of the rational thinking of the ancients. I really should learn from Junior Sister. Learn from her extremely rational thinking, and when I try to seize the fragments of the sky-making stone in the future, I must act ruthlessly and never be swayed by love. Alas! In his mind, Kunlun Mirror sighed imperceptibly, without letting Qiu Changhan hear it. King Ping Sword heard it, and sighed softly. "Why are you sighing?" Kunlun Mirror asked with a frown. "I remembered something sad." King Ping Sword said seriously, "Why are you sighing again?" "I also remembered something sad." Kunlun Mirror said faintly, and silently sorted out from beginning to end how the Queen of Patching the Sky backstabbed Chen Yunzui and pushed him into the sure field. In order to save his life, the mayor quickly caught the fishermen and dragged them to the ground to kowtow. Zhu Yingyan raised her sword and stood up. In front of the 5 fishermen who kowtowed, she explained in detail the reason for killing them, and promised that she would not harm their families and would leave a certain amount of food for them. Among the 5 fishermen, 3 collapsed on the ground and trembled, 1 kowtowed in tears, and the other had a gloomy face. He suddenly rushed towards her and was beheaded by Zhu Yingyan with a sword. As the sword light turned, the other 4 fishermen were also pierced through the heart and died instantly, but their bodies were intact. "Put the bodies of these 5 people with you temporarily." Qiu Changhan ordered the mayor, "Wait until we solve the calamity cloud in the sky, then you can bury them." The mayor dared not refuse, so he had to agree with a bitter face. Qiu Changhan also asked the mayor to go to the back house to get 2 lightning-proof pills, which were black round pills. When held in the mouth, they could reduce the damage of lightning. This thing is just an ordinary pill. If it is used to deal with the powerful lightning of the heavenly calamity, it is useless. If it is struck by lightning, it will die. But the evil calamity cloud in the sky is obviously not as strong as the condensed pill heavenly calamity. Using lightning-proof pills can also increase safety. The 2 left the mayor's house and flew up on the sword. They saw dark clouds rolling in the sky, but there was no sign of lightning. If everyone would be struck by lightning when they go out, how could any mortal dare to risk their lives to go out? Zhu Yingyan sighed casually. It is precisely because of the uncertainty of death that people have more foolish luck. In the art of war, there are also cases such as surrounding 3 and leaving 1, burning the boats, and fighting with one's back to the river, all of which take advantage of the weaknesses in human nature. Brother, on the road to cultivation, you must be careful of the flaws in your mind and nature. I just complimented you a few words, but you were addicted to preaching, right? Qiu Changhan complained in his heart, but said, "I have learned your lesson. Junior sister, please step back and let me deal with this disaster cloud." The evil disaster cloud that could fight with junior brother Qiu of the waffle level to a stalemate was obviously not a match for Qiu Changhan of the Jindan level. But just in case, he still took out the Thunder Hammer and Thunder Cone, mobilized a certain amount of true essence, and stimulated the Texas Thunder. Silver-white lightning jumped on the tip of the cone and soon condensed into a giant dragon, which plunged directly into the surging clouds in the sky. Chapter 513. Lightning Mother Flowing Gold, Changzhen gets the treasure. The dragon made of Texas Thunder rushed into the evil cloud. After condensing the golden elixir, Qiu Changhan's true essence was many times stronger than when he was crossing the calamity. Therefore, the thunder dragon easily tore through the defense line of the evil cloud and wreaked havoc in it. Suddenly, Qiu Changhan raised his hand quickly, and the Tianyuan Yeki sword shot out, bringing back something from the calamity cloud. It was a set of clothes and hats of Kunlun disciples, and even the storage bag was tied to the waist, but it was stained with a lot of blood. There are traces of evil spirits in the blood. Kunlun Jing added, "It seems that it is not a self-harm to fake death, but it is really injured by evil spirits." TSK. Qiu Changhan expressed his condolences. As a Jintan's Hinran, he did not actually use his full strength when releasing the Texas Thunder Dragon, mainly because he was worried that the evil cloud would be torn apart directly. As the fight between the Thunder Dragon and the Calamity Cloud became more and more intense, lightning flashed in the sky and thunder roared. Zhu Yingyan stood in the air a little lower, standing on his sword, thinking that senior brother only used one move to beat the robbery cloud so hard that it could hardly fight back. As expected of a Jintan's Hinran, no, that's not right, senior brother should be the only one who can do this. I have to quickly form a pill. As the robbery cloud gradually fell into a disadvantage, its area had shrunk by more than half. Pay attention, it's trying to escape. Kunlun Mirror suddenly reminded. Qiu Changtime's face was stern. Want to escape? Seeing that the robbery cloud suddenly rushed to the south, Qiu Changtime raised his arm casually and cast a Teshan Chuanji talisman. With the support of the powerful true essence, the speed of the talisman was comparable to the sword light, and it quickly penetrated the evil robbery cloud. The latter almost stopped immediately, and then had no power to fight back, and was torn to pieces by the dragon composed of Taixaolei. The sun shone again, and the evil robbery cloud had dissipated, leaving only a crystal-clear object. The Tianyuan Yeki sword turned into a sword light, sweeping the object over. Qiu Changtime looked closely and found that it was a long strip of beautiful jade, about the size of a palm, with flowing, liquid-like electric light inside. Even though he was well educated, he couldn't recognize what it was for a while. This should be the Dianmu Liu pin. Kingping's sword suddenly said, taking it can increase the cultivation of the Wafu by 30 years. But its biggest benefit is not the increase in the cultivation of the Wafu, but the resistance to heavenly thunder. It is said that mortals who take it will not be struck by heavenly thunder. Of course, not being struck by thunder is just an exaggeration. The actual effect should be that it makes the body less likely to be harmed by the thunder method. Qiu Changtime pondered, then if junior sister's Yu eats this thing, will she not be afraid of my five thunders orthodox method? Forget it, she is one of us anyway, and it is impossible for her to be my enemy. That's true. Kunlun Mirror said calmly. Qiu Changtime threw the jade to Zhu Yingyan and said, this is the lightning mother flowing gold. He repeated the words of the Kingping sword, but omitted the effect of resisting lightning. Zhu Yingyan stared at the jade in his hand silently, thinking that senior brother is really knowledgeable. I'm also well read, but I can't recognize the origin of this thing at all. However, this thing is a secret medicine of the Purple Mansion, which is useless to senior brother, so it is reasonable to give it to me. Thinking of this, junior sisters Yu stopped being pretentious and swallowed the lightning mother flowing gold. The jade fell into her mouth and immediately turned into a spicy liquid, which flowed down Zhu Yingyan's throat and fell into the sea of qi. Then lightning spread to her limbs and bones, making her jade bones clear, her limbs bright, and her 7 orifices and exquisite heart more brilliant. Let's go. Qiu Changtime said with a smile, let's leave here. Yes. Zhu Yingyan nodded. Kunlun Mirror then used its magical power to teleport the two out of the cave in the book. Qiu Changtime looked at the book again, and saw that there was a small paragraph of handwriting on the blank last page. The next day, a Kunlun monk arrived at the Island of Thunder. It was heard that there was a cloud of evil spirits on the island, which came once every 100 years, and the townspeople were all shocked and terrified. It took only 100 words to describe everything that junior brother Qiu did after entering the cave heaven, until he died in the cloud of evil spirits. Then it was written that 2 Kunlun monks came to find him, and Qiu Changtime and Zhu Yingyan were also written in. The story ended until the cloud of evil spirits was resolved. This book is really a strange thing. Zhu Yingyan said with emotion, so the stories recorded before are all real things that happened to the monks who entered the cave heaven in the book before. Maybe. Qiu Changtime said seriously, I have to find Master to report the situation of this book. As for junior brother Qi's clothes and relics, please send them to senior sister Su Ling's master. Okay. Zhu Yingyan naturally had no objection and nodded in agreement. Qiu Changtime left the suitor library quickly and flew towards Yuxiu Palace on his sword. When he arrived at the lecture room and said this to the headmaster Ziwia, the latter also opened his eyes with interest. He just waved his whisk and took the mirror flower water moon in Qiu Changtime's hand into his palm, and patiently flipped through it for a while. This is a Confucian wonder. The headmaster Ziwei smiled, but it is not a Taoist thing. I see. Qiu Changtime nodded and said. It turned out to be a thing of the human religion. No wonder the secret realm inside is so strange. It even has its own plot story and philosophical thinking, which is completely different from the cave heaven of our Taoism. In short, you did a good job this time. The headmaster Ziwei nodded. As a reward, you go to Fenbahu Rock to get something, and take it together with the first prize of the last Baiyuzheng competition. He waved his whisk again, and his lips moved slightly, and a silent secret message came out, and he went directly to notify Fenbahu Rock. Qiu Changtime said goodbye and left. Speaking of which, the last time he came to Fenbaoan, he borrowed the Yulam Shuang ice pot to survive the tribulation. At the time, the master once said that the Yulam Shuang ice pot was only borrowed temporarily. If it was damaged in the tribulation, it would be offset by the reward for the first place in the Baiyuzheng competition. If it was intact, he could choose another reward after returning it. As a result, when Qiu Chang's came back from the tribulation, although the Yunlan Shuang ice pot was not damaged, the Yunlan Shuang ice inside was used up completely and could not be used again in a short period of time. He didn't know whether this was considered intact or what, so he returned it to Elder Ji of Fenbaoan, but never mentioned the matter of choosing another reward. After all, the master would definitely not let him suffer a loss. As long as he chose the face, the master would definitely give him the inside later. Sure enough, this time when the head of Ziwei brought up the matter again, he got a legitimate reason to take the treasure again. Arriving at Fenbao Rock, Qiu Chang's saw Elder Jie, who was in charge of this place, pacing back and forth. Seeing this, he immediately came up to him and said, "Chang Zhen, I heard that you found the Confucian 1000 fantasy records from the Suitor Library. What, isn't it Mirror Flower, Water Moon?" Qiu Chang's was slightly startled, then realized that the name was obviously a fake name, so he nodded and admitted, "That's right." Okay. Ji Changlao was overjoyed and said excitedly, "Come with me to get the treasure quickly. After getting it, I will go to Yuxiu Palace to see the Confucian wonder." Chapter 514. Yilin survives the catastrophe, senior brother protects the law. Chang Zhen, what kind of treasure do you want this time? Elder Ji asked directly. Qiu Chang's had already thought it through and answered, "I want a defensive magic weapon and a magic weapon that can attack a large area." The reason is also very simple. Now Qiu Chang's true essence is vigorous and abundant, and he has the Five Thunders Righteous Law and the Tianyuan Yeki sword in his hands. His ability to attack a single target is almost full. But on the other hand, he is obviously lacking in defense, range attack and running away. It's just because he is so strong that most enemies can't even fight back against him, and they are directly blown up by him, so these shortcomings are not reflected. Since Qiu Chang's has to maintain his invincible personality, it is impossible for him to run away. When it comes to a critical moment, he can only rely on dodging. Therefore, the most important thing to improve now is the ability to defend himself and attack a large area. Defensive magic weapons, such as the Yunlan Shuang ice pot used before to cross the tribulation, are required to be able to withstand the enemy's large-scale Taoist attacks. Magical weapons for range attacks, such as Zhu Yingluyan's Great Bright Fire, require fast execution and a huge range, and preferably have some sound, light, breath, and even spiritual sense isolation effects. As for the consumption of true essence, as long as the power is strong enough and used together, it is not a problem. Well, Elder Ji pondered for a moment and walked into the inner hall. After a while, he brought back two magic weapons. One is a cloud-like veil called Tai King Yuan Qian Lan, which can weaken any attack that passes through it, including physical attacks such as flying swords, and Taoist methods such as Great Bright Fire. It looks like an enhanced and upgraded version of Kingping swords by Wakang Yuan, but it cannot completely block physical attacks, but only slows them down. The second is a green jade flute called Chuishao Hingbo flute. When true essence is injected into it and played, it can produce waves of sound, pushing all things around it outward. More importantly, the sound waves produced by this flute do not belong to the five elements, so it can hardly be targeted and restrained by any means. Qiu Chang's is very satisfied with these two magic weapons. He had already thought about it. When he was going to appear, he would be wearing Tai King Yuan Qian Lan, holding Chuishao Hingbo flute, and appear gracefully in the sound of the clear flute. The enemy shot him with a flying sword, but it was slowed down by the Tai King Yuan Qian Lan, and then isolated by the sound waves of Chuishao Hingbo flute, and could not get close at all. To outsiders, it seemed that Qiu Chang's was just standing here, doing nothing and letting you hit him, and you couldn't even touch an inch of his clothes. Good job. That's it. After receiving the two magic weapons, Elder Ji hurriedly locked the Fenbao Rock, and then rushed to Yuxiu Palace. Qiu Chang's flew back to Jinling on his sword, met the returning junior sisters Yu in the cave, and asked about the situation of Master Xilin. The elder Ling Bao took over junior brother Qi's mantle. Zhu Yingluyan sighed and said, "Alas, it is said that the elder originally had high hopes for junior brother Qi, and planned to change him from a direct disciple to the successor of the Taoist tradition after he formed the elixir. Unexpectedly, he died in the cave in the book. It is said that the cause of death of the foundation building cultivators in Kunlun over the years is that 5 out of 10 died from the elixir forming heavenly tribulation, and 4 out of 10 died from the exploration of the secret realm." Qiu Chang's also said with emotion, "The number of people who died because of fighting with hostile cultivators is less than 1/10. In the final analysis, it is because of lack of self-knowledge. Zhu Yingyan shook his head. I will go to refine the medicinal power, and then prepare to start the tribulation. Senior brother, you will protect me, right? Of course. Qiu Changtai said with a smile. A month later, Zhu Yingyan passed the tribulation as scheduled in the extreme west. On Kunlun's side, not only did they dispatch 3 elders, all of whom were good at on-the-spot treatment, the Ziwi sect master was present at the scene, and even invited the stone tripod elder of Penglai to set up the formation. Qiu Changtai sat on the mountain, watching the calamity clouds in the distance pressing down, and couldn't help feeling a little bored. If the first time I went through the calamity myself, I felt so exciting. So thrilling. The second time I watched the dragon and fox go through the calamity, I felt a little nervous, a little worried. Then the third time I watched Junior Sister's you go through the calamity, I thought this kind of rubbish calamity, Junior Sister can block it with her head, right? Zhu Yingyan formed a second-grade golden elixir, and the calamity type was the 5 elements calamity plus the inner demon calamity. The 5 elements calamity thunder is the most lethal of all the calamities, because no matter your Taoism or magic weapon, as long as it does not use the 5 elements, it will eventually be restrained by one of the 5 elements calamity thunder. To deal with the 5 elements of thunder, you must have at least 3 powerful enough means of attack among the 5 elements. If it were an ordinary cultivator, where would they get so many Taoist methods, magic weapons or flying swords? But for Zhu Yingyan, a disciple of the headmaster, as long as the cultivation level is in place, resources are not a problem. Zhu Yingyan first cast the Tiesan Chuangji spirit talisman to fix the water thunder in the sky, and then destroyed them one by one with the sword energy of Xiao Fu Shangyang. Then, facing the earth thunder, she took the thunder hammer and thunder comb that Qiu Changtai lent her, and swallowed the thunder in the air with a dragon composed of Tegsa thunder. The next wave was the wood thunder. Zhu Yingyan spit the great light fire all over the sky, and those thunders were burned by the great light fire before they fell. Then, a large number of fire thunders spit out from the robbery cloud, which turned out to be the huge and lethal thunderbolt and fire thunder that Qiu Changtai had dealt with last time. This thunder not only has a huge explosion range, but the more difficult part is that the energy aftermath of each thunder explosion will be absorbed by other thunderbolts fire thunders within the explosion range. Therefore, in the end, the heavenly tribulation will suffocate a super-huge thunder, and then blow you to pieces. Facing this thunderbolt fire thunder, Zhu Yingyan did not dare to be arrogant at all, and quickly activated the formation arranged in advance. A huge amount of spiritual power flowed into her body. Zhu Yingyan flew into the air in a white dress, pinched the Taoist formula in her hand, and turned directly into a phoenix made of flames. The phoenix rushed straight into the sky, and its cry resounded through the 9 heavens. While passing over the thunderbolt fire thunder, it directly ignited and detonated it. The thunderbolt fire thunder exploded one after another. Not only did the surrounding fire thunders become stronger, but the color of the phoenix's flames became more colorful and dazzling. Qiu Changtai could see clearly that the fire phoenix formed by this junior sister was actually competing with the thunderbolt fire thunder for the fire spirit energy spreading in the surrounding environment. You can still play like this. In the end, there was only one giant fire thunder left in the sky, with a radius of about 500 feet, but it was much smaller than the giant fire thunder that Qiu Changtai had to deal with that day. Nearly half of its energy was plundered by Zhu Yingyan in advance, so that it felt like this thunder was a bit malnourished. Qiu Changtai destroyed it with the 5 elements divine light at the time, and at this time, Sister Zhu relied on her phoenix true blood and decisively decided to fight the giant fire thunder head-on. With a shocking and thorough explosion, the flame phoenix wailed and fell to the center of the formation, revealing Zhu Yingyan's body full of burn marks. The power of this giant fire thunder was obviously beyond the range that Zhu Yingyan could absorb, and the excess violent energy caused serious damage to her. However, even though she was seriously injured due to her overconfidence, Zhu Yingyan's fighting spirit was still high. She silently wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth with the back of her hand, and her eyes were fixed on the robbery cloud in the sky. The robbery cloud sank to the air very close to the surface, and suddenly a golden dragon broke through the cloud, bearing its fangs and claws and rushing towards Zhu Yingyan. The last wave of the 5 elements of thunder was the rare black dragon real gold thunder. All the thunders gathered together to form the shape of a giant dragon. It was almost impossible to defend or delay such an exaggerated scale of heavenly tribulation by any means. The only way was to blow it up directly. Zhu Yingyan gritted his teeth and stirred up the true essence in his body, constantly compressing the meridians in his chest. Then his eyes widened, his silver teeth slightly opened, and he spit out a very thin line of fire into the air. Red Feather 9 Phoenix Fire. Among the 5 elements, the fire system restrains the gold system. Zhu Yingyan is also a Phoenix bloodliner. In order to deal with his senior brother's 5 thunders, he has already practiced the Red Feather 9 Phoenix Fire. The fire line condensed and did not disperse, like a dazzling golden line, sweeping directly across the body of the lightning golden dragon. Zhu Yingyan summoned up the remaining strength, and between the swings of his delicate head, the Red Feather 9 Phoenix Fire shuttled back and forth 3 or 4 times in an instant, cutting the lightning golden dragon into several ends, and finally produced a huge explosion. The calamity clouds in the sky slowly dissipated. Qiu Chain Tian, Ziwi's sect leader, and the other 3 Kunlun elders immediately rushed to Zhu Yingyan's side and asked about her condition. I locked the inner demon in my sea of consciousness. Zhu Yingyan didn't care about the burns on her body, but calmly took the pill, then calmly sat in meditation, saying, I want to get rid of the inner demon by myself, please don't do anything, master. Okay. Ziwi's sect leader said 2 good words in a row, turned to look at the 3 elders, then thank you. We will definitely protect your disciple. The 3 Kunlun elders said hurriedly. Zhu Yingyan has survived the heavenly calamity, and got the 2nd grade golden elixir. In addition to the 7 aperture exquisite heart, the origin of the Tian and Zhu family, and the status of Chan Zhengzhenren's Taoist companion, her future path is destined to be bright. It's just a guardian, so the 3 Kunlun elders are naturally happy to do this favor. Qiu Chain Tian sat down next to Zhu Yingyan, said nothing, and nodded to the master. Junior sister Zhu formed a 2nd grade golden elixir. Qiu Chain Tian was very happy, and Kunlun Jin was also very happy. Chapter 515. The Cloud-Breaking Sword Immortal, the Tribulation Crossing begins. A few days later, Zhu Yingyan officially stepped down from the position of the chief of the Foundation Building Realm, and his Taoist name was King. King means beautiful jade. Ying means extraordinary talent. Using King as a code name, on the one hand, is to recognize Zhu Yingyan's extraordinary talent, and on the other hand, it is also to hope that she can learn the harmonious temperament of jade and not be aggressive at every turn. After all, Zhu Yingyan is a smart person with a wide range of books, and she immediately understood the master's earnest expectations. At that moment, she secretly made up her mind to follow the footsteps of her senior brother in the future and not think about other things. As for the chief of the Foundation Building Realm, after an unknown competition, it fell to a certain senior brother. This direct senior brother, originally ranked 3rd among all the Foundation Building disciples of Ziwi Master, after Zhu Chain King and Songhe. But he didn't expect that he would be the chief without doing anything this time, and he was also ecstatic. Of course, these 2 Jin and Zhenren no longer care about the position of the chief of the Foundation Building Realm. As a newly promoted Jin and Zhenren, Zhu Yingyan chose to join the Discipline Hall and began to patrol majestically in the Kunlun Mountains. Originally, she wanted to go to the patrol hall and fight the demon cult on the front line, but it was obvious that this 2nd grade Jin and Zhenren would be surrounded and killed by the demon cult's unique bosses on the front line, so she was directly rejected by the Ziwi sect master. Qiu Chain Tian, on the other hand, was still living a leisurely and simple life of cultivation in the Sutra Library. Originally, the Hell Road had agreed to make Wei Dongliu a giant of the demon cult and compete with Qiu Chain Tian, the leader of the Orthodox Church. As a result, before Wei Dongliu became a giant of the demon cult, Qiu Chain Tian had already fallen flat, which was hilarious. Why not reload the game? Shushan line. Kunlun Mirror asked tentatively. Let's go. Qiu Chain Tian said, let's help you find the last fragment. Point 2. Shushan Shang King Sect, King Luo Peak. Character Identity. Ling Yunpo. Mirror Flower Water Moon Template overwritten, in the process of time travel. Ling Yunpo was in the Taoist temple of King Luo Peak. Every day he either helped his senior sister buy wine or accompanied her to practice sword. After about 10 days, the turmoil of Qiu Chain Tian becoming a 1st grade Jin and Zhenren had completely subsided in Shushan. The time has come. Senior sister, I have to go on a long journey. Ling Yunpo lead. Where to? Zisu asked in surprise. I met a few Taoist friends in the Baiyusheng competition before. Ling Yunpo smiled and replied, I plan to travel with them for a few days, not to explore the secret realm, but just to change my mood. Oh. Zisu nodded and stood up, I'll go with you. Ah? Ling Yunpo said embarrassedly, Senior sister, I didn't tell them that you would go with them. Really? Zisu blinked. Then can't we talk about it after we meet? We're both men, Ling Yunpo pleaded. Oh, you should have said it earlier. Zisu secretly breathed a sigh of relief. They are all male cultivators. It's not good for me to go with them. When will you come back? 3 days at the shortest, 5 days at the longest. Ling Yunpo immediately smiled. After going out, when I come back again, I will pretend that I have passed the heavenly tribulation and formed a third-grade golden elixir. The reason why I lied about being a third-grade elixir is naturally to show the enemy weakness. Nowadays, King Luo Peak is already very feared within Shushan because of the Wen King school. If there is another Wen King school cultivator with a second-grade golden elixir, will he think that the hostility around him is not enough, or what? Ling Yunpo said goodbye to senior sister Anne, and took the Thunder Sword and the 10,000 bamboo sword to leave King Luo Peak and enter the sky above the Shushan Mountains. Shushan is not a mountain, but a general term for a whole range of mountains. The main peak is Mount Imaya, which is also the residence of the Yuzheng sect leader. The rest of the peaks, each of which is the station of a sword school. Unlike the position of the headmaster of cunning, which is passed down from generation to generation, after the headmaster of Shushan resigns, the next headmaster must be selected from the masters of the various peaks. The specific selection method is naturally a duel. Whoever wins the final position of the headmaster can move his family to the main peak of Imei. In contrast, the descendants of the headmaster of Yuzheng will have to move back from the main peak of Imei. From this, it can be seen that from the perspective of the position of the headmaster, the stronger the sword immortal of Shushan is, the better. But from the perspective of the headmaster lineage, the stronger the sword immortals of other peaks are, the weaker the descendants of his own lineage will be. Therefore, the headmaster of Yuzheng must try to improve the strength of the sword immortals of the entire sect, and limit the strength of the sword immortals of other peaks. Ling Yunpo is naturally very clear about the secret. It depends on whether the target sword immortal is very strong or ridiculously strong. If it is very strong, then support it to highlight the headmaster's demeanor. If it is ridiculously strong, it must be restricted to avoid threatening his own sect. However, for King Luo Peak, there is a more serious problem. King Luofen was taught by 7 Killings Master Su Jian. He was the most valued disciple of Shushan Immortal Changmei, even more so after the death of Taoist Master Duoyan. However, Su Jian chose the love stream, and was tied to his wife and daughter. In the eyes of the Immortal Changmei, this was simply tying his own hands and feet on the road of cultivation. Su Jian was such an excellent sword immortal, but because of his wife, he stayed in the mortal world and wasted decades of cultivation. And on the way back to the mountain, in order to protect his daughter, he was severely injured by the Shurda welder and had to close the life and death gate to survive. All of this is enough to prove that the love stream is a cancer. It is the inner demon that caused Su Jian to be distracted by his mortal heart and unable to concentrate on cultivation. If it were any other Shushan sword immortal, as long as he knew how to calculate the pros and cons, how could he let himself fall into such a miserable situation? Ling Yunpo could even be sure that no matter how excellent he and Zisu were, they were not as important as Su Jian in the heart of the Immortal Changmei. The grudges and even hatred between Zhufeng and Su Jian were the first level. The internal environment of the Shushan sword immortals, the instinct of mutual oppression, is the second layer. The sect's long-browed immortal dislikes Zisu and Ling Yunpo, thinking that the former is a burden to Su Jian, and the latter may become a burden, which is the third layer. These layers of reasons have led to a very pessimistic situation of King Luo Peak within Shushan. Fortunately, due to the sect rules that restrict internal strife within Shushan, no one can openly do too much to King Luo Peak. But if I form a golden elixir, even if I declare to the outside world that it is only a third-grade golden elixir, it is still a top-grade one. At the time, will it further intensify the problems of King Luo Peak? Ling Yunpo flew in the air with his sword, and he quickly figured it out in his mind. It will definitely be. But I can't force myself not to form an elixir because of this. If I don't declare that I have formed an elixir, I can't do many things that only a golden elixir real person can do. And if I always hide it and do some more dangerous things, such as entering the demon locking tower alone, it will definitely arouse suspicion and fear. Forget it. As a sword immortal, we must face challenges head-on. It's a good time to continue to brush up the synchronization value of the unyielding personality. Thinking of this, Ling Yunpo watched the sword light and flew towards the Qinghai Tibet Plateau in the west. Arriving at the vast and uninhabited plateau, Ling Yunpo pondered for a moment, and then took out the thunder hammer and thunder comb he brought with him. Soon, earth-shaking thunder rang out all around, and even spread to 1,000 miles away. Is someone going through the tribulation over there? Several foreign monks passing by looked into the distance, but did not see any traces of tribulation clouds. They were monks of the Shirodo. At this time, they heard the thunder rolling in, but there were no tribulation clouds visible to the naked eye, which showed that the place where the tribulation was going to be should be far away from here. In other words, the sound can actually be transmitted beyond the visual range of the naked eye. How terrifying must the tribulation be? The foreign monks looked at each other for a moment, and soon reached a consensus. Let's go and see. Transition Chapter 1. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novelers, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelers. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 516. Strange Blood Knife. Almost capsized. Ling Yunpo stopped and looked at the messy ground around him. After forming the elixir, his true essence was nearly 100 times more abundant. Originally, using the Take South Under ones would drain most of his true essence, but now he could spend it to his heart's content. Be careful, someone is approaching. Kunlun Mirror suddenly reminded. Got it. Ling Yunpo turned around, and the Kingping sword suddenly popped out, repelling the blood-colored flying sword that attacked from a distance. 3 foreign monks quickly rushed to him. One of them was carrying a skull magic bead, one was holding a blood-stained scimitar, and the other was empty-handed, but his appearance was very familiar. It was the old monk Gilai who had explored the Mirror Lake Palace in southern Xinjiang with Wei Dongliu last time. Shushan monk? The magic bead foreign monk frowned and asked. Golden Danzhenren. The blood knife foreign monk's face suddenly changed. Run. Although Gilai was the last one to speak, he retreated faster than anyone else because when he rushed over just now, he deliberately fell to the back and let his 2 junior brothers go up to take the lead. Ling Yunpo was too lazy to say more, and shot the Kingping sword at the nearest foreign monk. The foreign monk quickly took the human head magic bead from his neck and threw it towards him. The magic bead was spinning in the air, like a diamond ring, and suddenly it was wrapped around the Kingping sword. Ling Yunpo's sword tactics changed, and the powerful true essence was violently injected into the Kingping, and the 4th level of the sword was activated. After entering the Jindan realm and the Shinshin level, the 4th level of the Taoist law sealed on the Kingping sword can also be used. The name is Random Waterfalls Piercing Clouds and Valleys. A large amount of water suddenly gushed out from the Kingping sword, rushing out in all directions like a huge waterfall, and instantly washed the human head magic bead away to an unknown place. Ling Yunpo turned his hand and covered his palm, and immediately snowflakes fell from the sky again. The 3rd level of the Kingping sword is North Wind Rolling White Feathers. Every snowflake is a piece of sword energy. The endless sword energy swaying down almost scared the 3 foreign monks to death. Gilai reacted the fastest. He swallowed a pill into his stomach, clasped his hands together, and headed into the ground, disappearing immediately. Ling Yunpo saw clearly from behind. After swallowing the pill, his back suddenly bulged. It should be the very rare mimicry of the earth-walking fish in the strange art. By taking pills containing the flesh and blood of the earth-walking fish, he gained the ability to escape into the earth and breathe underground for a short period of time, thus avoiding a large number of attacks that could not penetrate the rock layer. Gilai was the first to leave the battle, and the other 2 foreign monks immediately cursed. After all, it is better to die than to die. With one less person on the battlefield, the probability of the 2 of them being attacked has increased significantly. The foreign monk with the magic bead had lost his head magic beads, so he could only shout angrily, urging his power to start fighting desperately. As his true energy surged, his body suddenly swelled several feet and turned into a 3-headed and 6-armed appearance. He was the Oklanath of the Shirodo. Each of the 6 arms held 6 kinds of weapons. Before Ling Yunpo could see clearly, they swung them quickly like lightning, destroying the approaching snowflake sword energy one by one. The foreign monk holding the blood knife saw that he could not leave, so he quickly raised the blood knife in the air and chanted something. The 3-headed and 6-armed Mingwang Dharmakaya next to him, although it looked powerful, could not withstand the excessive snowflake sword energy around it, and it passed through the weapon interception within 3 or 5 breaths and invaded. Once, twice, and then countless wounds burst out one after another, making the Mingwang Dharmakaya body in pain, and finally revealed a flaw, and was pierced through the throat by the Kingping sword, and 3 heads flew up into the sky in the blood fountain. Seeing this, the blood knife foreign monk was horrified and quickly pointed his hand at Ling Yunpo, only to see the blood knife in the air suddenly disappear. Ling Yunpo's heart moved, and a sense of crisis came over him, and he quickly performed the dividing cloud vacuous step. As his figure disappeared from the spot, the blood knife flashed out from behind his remaining figure and stabbed at his heart, just missing. If he had reacted a little slower, he would have been hit immediately. Ling Yunpo's heart was furious, and his feet flashed again and again, and he flashed to the side of the Kingping sword, holding the hilt with one hand, and turned quickly. The blood knife flashed out from behind him again, and was chopped by Ling Yunpo holding the Kingping sword, and it broke into 2 pieces with a ding. As the blood knife was destroyed, the foreign monk also vomited blood. It was obviously some kind of mysterious backlash that was transmitted along the Ki connection, causing the foreign monk to be seriously injured. Ling Yunpo pointed his hand again, and the thunder sword also shot out, piercing the blood knife foreign monk through the chest. The battle was over. Ling Yunpo looked at the bodies of the 2 people, feeling a little angry. He had become a Jintan's Hinran, but he was fighting 2 juniors at the water level, and he almost capsized in the gutter. What on earth is that blood knife? It seems to be some kind of key-locking mechanism. Kingping sword analyzed. Do you know the 7 Arrows book? This blood knife is a super simplified version of the 7 Arrows book, and the mechanism is similar. It also comes with short distance space movement. Kunlun Mirror also added, let me remind you that this blood knife does not seem to be an ordinary magic weapon. Of course I know. Ling Yunpo said angrily. He is not bragging, but he just happened to meet him, a Jindan's Hinran. If it were another Shushan's Hinran who came here, he would be watched from afar by this blood knife monk without knowing it, and then the blood knife flashed behind him and stabbed him. Wouldn't it be a sure death? No matter you're building a foundation or a Jindan, you can't protect yourself. After all, Ling Yunpo is good at formations, and he has Lamushu, the senior brother who forges swords, so it can be confirmed that in his current knowledge, he has never seen such a strange magic weapon as the blood knife. If there are a few more such magic weapons, they will be used by the 6 waves of the demon cult to behead the newcomers of the righteous way, and there will be no need to fight the war between the righteous and the evil in the future. After carefully putting away the blood knife fragments, Ling Yunpo planned to read Luo Yam's file later. He could take it to study with his senior brother Lamushu. Oh, the senior brother went to survive the Yuning heavenly tribulation, so he would take it to Elder Sheeting for study. He flew up on his sword without hesitation and flew rapidly towards Shushan. Not long after, 2 black clouds came from the sky and landed around the bodies of the 2 foreign monks. The bodies were surrounded by several vultures, and they had eaten almost half of them. Green lightning shot out from the black clouds, killing all the vultures. Gilai emerged from the dispersing black clouds, came to the body of the blood knife foreign monk, and quickly checked his belongings. Grandmaster. He handed over the storage bag and said with a serious expression, the meowing divine sword is gone. Another foreign monk came out of the black cloud, took the storage bag and checked it for a while, and was so angry that he threw out the green lightning again, violently knocking Gilai to the ground, leaving a big gash on his face, and blood was dripping. Gilai got up in a panic, knelt on the ground and kowtowed without saying a word. The foreign monk tried to calm down his anger, and after a while he said, tell me all the features of that man, his figure, and his martial arts. Yes. Gilai quickly searched his memory and began to describe Ling Yunpo's appearance. At this moment, if Nzisu stood here, he would immediately recognize that this old foreign monk with wrinkles on his face and a gloomy expression was the great master of Shirodo, Master Mokong, the culprit who led the ambush on Sujian. Chapter 517 I have paid a lot for my senior sister. Ling Yunpo returned to King Luo Peak. Senior sister. He searched the King Luo Peak Taoist temple, but did not find Nzisu. He thought she was either going to buy wine or, oh, that's right. Following the downward corridor, Ling Yunpo stepped into the secret room. In the secret room deep in King Luo Peak, Nzisu knelt on the futon, chattering with her father about what had happened during this period. Master, junior brother went out to relax with the Taoist friends I met last time. Alas, although it's a good thing, I always feel a little disappointed. In this regard, I'm not as smooth as junior brother. He won't dislike me for this. Behind the rock wall, there was still silence. Junior brother, you're back. Noticing the movement behind him, Nzisu stood up quickly, looking a little surprised and uneasy. Could junior brother have heard everything he said to master just now? Junior brother. Nzisu whispered, even with a rare shy look on her face, when did you come in? Ah? Ling Yunpo pretended not to know, I came back a long time ago. Then you, Nzisu was speechless, and changed the subject after a while, how was your time outside? This was not a swordsmanship habit. If she couldn't attack from the front, senior sister would often choose to roam from the flank to contain the enemy, rather than running away directly. Very good. Ling Yunpo used his ultimate move directly. Senior sister, I have formed a golden elixir. Zisu. Senior sister Anne, who was running away, was directly pierced by the unity of the man and the sword of the junior brother. She took several minutes to digest this information, and finally said in disbelief. How could it be? What grade of golden elixir did you form? Upper 3rd grade. Ling Yunpo's eyes showed a firm look, and his voice was 3 parts tragic and 7 parts unrepentant. Without thinking, he would brush up his favorability first. Top grade golden elixir. Zisu breathed a sigh of relief subconsciously. After all, top grade golden elixir is the basic threshold for becoming a golden immortal in the future, but she also felt a little sad and painful. With the talent of her junior brother, he should have made a 2nd grade golden elixir. If he is lucky enough, a 1st grade golden elixir is not impossible. Zisu subconsciously ignored the difficulty of a 1st grade golden elixir. She just silently turned those thoughts that would seem ridiculous when spoken out, and felt that her heart was shrinking into a ball with sadness and twitching. What about you, senior sister? Ling Yunpo asked with a smile. How many years have you been cultivating your wafu? Zisu was silent for a moment, and said sadly, about 300 years. The golden mercury elixir liquid, the cloud sea cocoon, the 10,000-year stone milk, the sea body and the red marrow elixir, a total of 160 years. After she won the 2nd place in Baiyusheng Secret Realm, she found 2 Purple Mansion secret medicines in Yuan Cave. Together with the Purple Mansion secret medicines that Su Jian fed her when she just entered the Watfu stage, and the accumulation of her own silent breathing and cultivation over the years, the total is 300 years of Watfu cultivation. In any case, the Purple Mansion secret medicines that are easy to collect on the Shushan route have basically been obtained. In addition to the rare encounters such as the Baiyusheng competition, it is only possible to make up 300 years, the remaining 100 years, but I don't know where to find them, and the hope is very slim. Even the first person under the golden elixir of Shushan, the 2nd grade golden elixir is so difficult to make, let alone other cultivators. No matter what, senior sister, please don't easily form a golden elixir. Ling Yunpo advised patiently, junior brother, I have become a golden elixir real person. From now on, you can protect King Luo Peak and let you down. This is also for you to rush to the threshold of the 2nd grade golden elixir. If you are careless about forming a golden elixir again and fail me, then not to mention master, even I, your junior brother, will not be able to accept it. He kept saying junior brother, repeatedly stimulating Zisu's protective nature, so that she couldn't speak at all at this time, but her pretty eyes were filled with tears and her eyes were red. She thought that junior brother had paid so much for me, and I really didn't know how to repay him. Alas, I owe him so much, and I guess I can only repay him slowly for the rest of my life. The 2 of them were affectionate in the secret room of King Luo Peak for a while, both to consolidate the goodwill that had been brushed up, and to give senior sister time to accept the current situation. Guessing that the atmosphere was about right, Ling Yunpo brought up the business again. Sister, since I have already formed the elixir, I can use the reward I got from the headmaster when I discovered the Baiyusheng secret realm in Tianmu Mountain last time, the demon locking tower order. By the way, I can also find some secret medicine for the Purple Mansion for you. Yes. Zisu responded softly. In normal times, Sister Anne might have been proud of her status as a sister and told Ling Yunpo not to waste energy looking for medicine for her. After all, it is only the sister who cares about and supports the junior brother, so how can the junior brother run around and serve the sister? However, at this time, Sister Anne was immersed in the guilt and emotion of the junior brother made a great sacrifice for me, so she naturally accepted Ling Yunpo's suggestions and listened to whatever he said. Zisu was completely defeated and lost her ability to think. The 2 left as soon as they said they would. Anyway, there was no master to report to at King Luo Peak at this time, so they took the elixir away and flew towards Lidenping. Arriving at Lidenping, they saw a huge demon-locking tower piercing straight into the valley. The upper part had a lot of charred spots, which were the traces of dragon breath left over from the last time the dragon caused chaos. The lower part was hidden in the mist in the deep valley, appearing extremely quiet, deep and mysterious. As Ling Yunpo approached the tower, a Jindan Xingren flew out on his sword and shouted, "This is not the time to open the demon-locking tower. What are you 2 youngsters from King Luo Peak doing here?" Before he finished speaking, Ling Yunpo took out the demon-locking tower token and handed it to him. Zisu did the same. The Jin and Shinran turned the two tokens over and over to check their authenticity, then sneered and said, "Do you really want to waste them here? A mere Foundation establishment cultivator can only go down to the 30th floor of the demon locking tower at most. What good things can you find?" His voice became smaller, and then there was a strange silence. The cultivation level of Shushan sword immortals is easier to judge than Kunlun monks, probably because everyone controls the sword, and the size and brightness of the sword light under their feet can roughly estimate the strength of their true energy. The green sword light of the Wonju sword under Ling Yunpo's feet is obviously much stronger than the blue sword light of the Hanlai sword under Nzisu's feet. That is when Ling Yunpo deliberately restrained the output of his true energy. This Poon sword immortal of King Luo Peep actually formed a golden elixir without making any noise. "Masters Hinjuan, may I ask if my senior sister and I can enter the tower?" Ling Yunpo asked politely. The tower guard nodded coldly and made way, thinking secretly. The cloud-pocking sword immortal, as a junior brother, had formed a golden core ahead of time, while the grass-cutting sword immortal, as a senior sister, has remained in the Foundation establishment stage. Isn't this a typical case of inverted cultivation? Considering that Ling Poon has only been a disciple for a short time and her lifespan is far from reaching its limit, it is obvious why she formed a golden core ahead of time. These two senior and junior sisters have deep feelings for each other, but it's a pity that they became disciples of the evil Starkeisha. Could it be that these two have cultivated the questioning love flow ahead of time? The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. He quickly took out a small sword from his sleeve, which suddenly turned into a stream of light, carrying the message and flying to report to his own peak master. Chapter 518. Infiltrating the Phoenix. Ling Yunpo and Nzisu were teleported into the demon locking tower from the Four Symbols formation on the 30th floor. The plan to go to the demon locking tower had been set long ago, and Ling Yunpo had naturally done enough homework in advance. He had a basic idea of which monsters and treasures were hidden on each floor. As for his sister, he was mainly looking for the Purple Mansion secret medicine for her. As for himself, he was going to look for the Kunlun Mirror fragments and see if there was anything suitable for the Golden Core Realm. Back to the point, from the Foundation Establishment Realm to the Golden Core Realm, and then to the Nascent Soul Realm, the overall dependence of the cultivator on the outside world is reduced layer by layer. To complete the foundation of the Foundation, a large amount of Purple Mansion secret medicine needs to be collected. To put it bluntly, it is to use external objects to achieve the Tao. The Golden Core Realm is relatively more independent, and the grade of the final Nascent Soul depends mainly on the grade of the Golden Core itself, and secondly on the integrity of the origin after passing the Heavenly Tribulation. The former depends on the solidity of your foundation, while the latter is purely based on strength. Whether you have a powerful magic weapon or flying sword is also crucial. As for the Nascent Soul Realm's transformation to immortality, it basically all depends on your own foundation of Taoism. If you have a top-grade golden elixir or a top-grade divine infant, your final level of immortality will be between the golden immortal and the Daluo golden immortal. But if you have a mid-grade golden elixir or a mid-grade earth infant, even if you have passed the heavenly tribulation of transformation perfectly, you will most likely be capped at the heavenly immortal. As for the low-grade golden elixir or the low-grade human infant, you don't even have the chance to pass the tribulation, and the subsequent path has been cut off. From this point of view, although the path of cultivation is long, the most important thing is to take every step steadily. If senior sister and only formed a third-grade golden elixir, it would be very difficult for her to form a divine infant in the future. As for the Daluo golden immortal, it would be basically hopeless, and she would be a golden immortal at most. Therefore, Ling Yunpo has made a clear plan this time, and he must obtain the last 100 years of cultivation for senior sister. First, let's go to the 47th floor. Ling Yunpo said to his senior sister, behind that death gate on the 47th floor, it is said that there is a secret realm with many huge phoenix trees. There is a red bird phoenix living there. As long as you can get the phoenix's blood, you can refine an ancient Purple Mansion secret medicine called 9-turn red phoenix pill. 9-turn red phoenix pill. Nzisu said worriedly, I have never heard of this name before. The secret recipe of this pill is only circulated in the Phoenix clan. It is normal that senior sister does not know it. Ling Yunpo said with a smile, Senior sister, please stay outside and wait for me to get the medicine back. Junior brother, be careful. Nzisu was reluctant to leave. Ling Yunpo left Nzisu and walked calmly towards the death gate. In the Phoenix clan in the Locking Demon Tower, everyone has the strength of the Yue level of the Golden Core Realm, and there are also many in the Nascent Soul Realm. If you want to use violence to seize the pill, even if the nascent soul elder comes in, it will be difficult. The immortal must take action. However, Ling Yunpo has already relied on his great wisdom to get a clever plan that ordinary people can't think of. A Jin, give me junior sister's use template. Oh, the 7 Akpaja heart, right? Kumlin Jin asked knowingly. No. What I want is the template of the Phoenix bloodliner. Ling Yunpo said angrily, you are playing dumb in front of me, right? Before, you scanned Yinglong, and let me get Yinglong's essence and blood, so you can disguise yourself as Linglong with dragon blood. Now that you have scanned junior sisters you, and I have eaten the 9-turn red phoenix pill containing the phoenix essence and blood, it must be no problem to make a temporary phoenix template, right? No problem. Kumlin Jing replied, in fact, I think that even without the illusion, with your excellent eloquence and flexible mind, you should be able to get in. Am I the kind of person who has nothing to do and makes things more difficult for myself? Ling Yunpo said unhappily, stop talking nonsense, hurry up. Master Swordmaster didn't deny it. Kingping Sword was amazed, and chatted privately with Kumlin Jin, can he really get into the Phoenix clan without relying on illusions? I don't know. Kumlin Jin chuckled, but if it's him, I wouldn't be surprised if he did something exaggerated. Me too. Kingping Sword couldn't agree more. A new illusion template was generated, and Ling Yunpo turned into a handsome young man with red hair, red eyes, and fair skin, and walked out of the passage. The secret realm behind that death door was actually a huge valley. The mountain springs and streams were gurgling. The phoenix trees were swaying. Ling Yunpo had the illusion of returning to the 100 Flowers Valley. Soon, several cultivators flew over from a distance and shouted, who are you? How dare you break into the secret realm of our clan, huh? Are you from my clan? The 3 of them looked around Ling Yunpo for a long time, and they only felt that the aura of the phoenix bloodliner on his body was extremely pure, and the bloodliner rank was quite high. I am from the Vermilion Bird clan, what clan are you from? Ling Yunpo asked back. Hey, Vermilion Bird. One of them laughed, it's been a long time since I last heard of this name. Humans usually call us phoenixes, but few people can tell a difference. Brother, what's your name? Are you from outside? My name is Feng Jiu. Ling Yunpo used the excuse he had prepared long ago, for some reason, I drifted from the Eastern Empire realm to the human realm. Not long ago, I was captured by the human race and sent here. Eastern Empire realm? These Vermilion Bird cultivators looked at each other with surprised expressions. The cultivation world and the Eastern Empire realm have been separated for nearly 100,000 years by the natural chasm created by the sun's heavenly sword, and the 2 sides can hardly communicate with each other. Nowadays, the demons who can enter the demon locking tower are often those who live in remote corners of the cultivation world and are found and captured by Shushan before being locked up. There are probably not even 1 in 10,000 demons like Yinglong who broke into the human world from the Eastern Empire realm and then slipped and were imprisoned in the demon locking tower. You are from the Eastern Empire realm? One of them pretended to be unconvinced and asked tentatively, then tell me, where is our Vermilion Bird clan stationed in the Eastern Empire realm? What is the name of the current clan leader? All the Feather clan live in Nanzhou, and our Vermilion Bird clan lives on Wyland in the South China Sea. Ling Yunpo was not likely to be unaware of the situation in the Eastern Empire realm, and immediately answered fluently, the current clan leader is called Feng Li, and is the direct descendant of the Vermilion Bird ancestor. Several Vermilion Bird cultivators remained calm and exchanged glances silently. Except for those elders, most of the Vermilion Bird clan in the Demon Locking Tower were born in the Demon Locking Tower and have never set foot in the world outside the tower. Regarding the situation of the Vermilion Bird clan, they also read a few words from the clan's classics, but they coincided with what Ling Yunpo said, even less detailed than what he said. After all, everyone knows that the main Vermilion Bird clan uses Feng as its surname, following the surname of the Vermilion Bird ancestor, but they definitely don't know what the name of the current clan leader of the family outside is. Thinking of this, they immediately smiled and became much more enthusiastic towards Ling Yunpo, wanting to take him back to their clan. Along the way, everyone was chattering, constantly asking Ling Yunpo about the situation of the Vermilion Bird clan in the Eastern Empire realm. Feng Jiu, I heard that since Emperor Yinglong was also imprisoned, the Jielong clan in Thongzhou has been rapidly declining. So which clan is ruling the monsters in the Eastern Empire realm now? It's the Cunning clan. They reached a secret cooperation with the Chuanwu clan, and persuaded the Kanglong clan in Dongzhou to stand on their side, and finally picked up the political fruits left by the Jielong clan. Ling Yunpo was naturally familiar with the history of the Eastern Empire realm. Oh. So our vermilion bird clan is just going to watch? Another cultivator asked in confusion. Of course it's impossible. Ling Yunpo said with a smile, don't mention Kalin, even when Jialong was in charge, when did we, the vermilion bird, ever submit? It's just that the Kalin clan allied with Chuang, persuaded Kanglong, and married Beru. With the power of our Nanzhao feather clan alone, it is difficult to compete with the other 4 states. After that, as Kanglong and Beru clans stood by and watched, we fought several battles with Sthongzhou. So that's how it is. Everyone was very excited. The vermilion bird clan was naturally arrogant. When they heard that the main clan outside was against the Kalin clan, they immediately felt proud. In addition, Ling Yunpo's description was extremely detailed, a small amount of which coincided with the records in their clan, and most of the content was so detailed that it didn't seem like nonsense, so they all believed it to 90%. As for the last point, they had to wait until the clan leader met this Feng Jie before they could make a final conclusion. Chapter 519. Act, just act. The phoenix will not live except in the Chinese parasol trees, and will not drink except from the sweet springs. What if there is no Chinese parasol tree big enough for the entire phoenix clan to live in? The immediate answer is, find a tree big enough, and then name it Chinese parasol tree. By the way, isn't this the Fusam tree? This is the Fusam tree of the Jin clan. Ling Yunpo, disguised as Feng Jiu, couldn't help asking when he came to the center of the valley and looked at the huge tree in front of him. Wrong, brother. One of the vermilion bird monks said, this is the Witten tree. But, Ling Yunpo wanted to try again, but heard the vermilion bird next to him said, brother, I understand what you mean, but you should know that the Witten tree can't grow hundreds of feet high. Without a giant tree hundreds of feet high, how can so many of us live? But the phoenix must live on the Witten tree, this is the ancestral rule. So you named the Fusam wood, I mean this tree, the Witten tree, right? Ling Yunpo suddenly realized, where did the tree come from? Of course it was stolen from the Jin clan in the tower, borrowed it. The vermilion bird monk replied. I see. Ling Yunpo nodded and said, that's normal, the feathered clans in the world are one family, it doesn't matter if we borrow some things. Yes, the feathered clans in the world are one family. The vermilion birds nodded one after another. All the way from the edge of the valley to the center of the valley, Ling Yunpo also found out that the 3 vermilion bird monks were called Fengye, Fengsan and Feng respectively. The reason why this arithmetic sequence was named was because his parents had no education, the locking demon tower was isolated from the outside world, and both scriptures and jade slips were luxury goods. It was impossible to get clan education. As for Feng Er and Feng Si, because they were married and were taking care of their children at their husbands' homes, they did not come out with them. Soon, as the news of the arrival of Ling Yunpo, a foreigner, spread, a large number of vermilion bird monks came out to watch the fun. The 3 brothers of the arithmetic sequence drove away the curious tribesmen, and Ling Yunpo finally got what he wanted and met the chief of the vermilion bird tribe. The chief treated him very warmly and was very shrewd. He asked many questions about the political situation in the Eastern Empire realm. I don't know what the point of his asking these questions is, and Ling Yunpo answered them in detail one by one. He did not slack off when he received general education in the Kanglong tribe, so his answers were quite flawless. After Ling Yunpo left, 2 elders came out of the inner room and discussed carefully with the clan leader. Is there anything wrong with his answer? No, but precisely because of this, it is the biggest problem. You mean, an ordinary vermilion bird cultivator should not have such a clear and comprehensive understanding of that political situation in the Eastern Empire realm? Yes, I suspect that he may be a direct descendant of the clan. Only direct descendants will receive a complete general education. But, a direct descendant would not rashly leave the Eastern Empire realm, right? The first possibility is that he did encounter an accident and drifted to the human world. The world is full of wonders. Even if there are things we don't know about, it is not nonsense. As for the second possibility, he planned to sneak in advance. Oh? Has the phoenix bloodline in his body been tested? It has been tested, and the rank is very high, but this aggravates the sense of disobedience. After all, the clan would never let such a direct descendant go out rashly. Speaking of this, I have heard from a Shushang cultivator that the phoenix bloodline also remains in the human race. You mean, the Tianan's Yu family? It is unlikely that the Tianan's Yu family has such a pure bloodline. Anyway, it is better to have someone monitor them first. Ling Yunpo left the clan leader's hall and was immediately surrounded by curious Thunao people. In the past 100 years, all new members of the clan have come from internal births, and the number of foreign populations is 0. Therefore, Fenjiu, a typical outsider, immediately aroused everyone's curiosity. Everyone surrounded Fenjiu, stuffing things into her and asking her all kinds of questions. This cordial and enthusiastic atmosphere made Ling Yunpo, who was a traitor, feel a little embarrassed. By the way, does the Swordmaster really have the emotion of embarrassment? Kingping Sword started to chat privately with Kunlun Mirror again. There should be some. Kunlun Jing said lightly, it's just that each time it's only a flash in the pan. This guy's bottom line is really unfathomable. I don't know what can make him embarrassed for more than a quarter of an hour. Well, for example, his identity as a traitor is exposed in front of his senior sisters, junior sisters, and eldest daughter who trust him highly. If there really comes such a day, he will only say confidently, it's all the world's fault. Kunlun Jing sighed and said, as long as you prepare yourself mentally, this man's face is absolutely invincible. Hey, Lord Swordmaster. Kingping Sword asked Ling Yunpo directly, isn't your conversation with the clan leader just now too detailed and thorough? Ordinary monsters can't know so much. It's to make them suspicious. Ling Yunpo replied with a sneer, Fenjiu is not a simple monster. What she looks like on the surface must be a disguise. As long as you think in this way, and try to see through the second layer under the surface, you'll definitely take what you see on the second layer as the fact. As for the third and fourth layers, who would think so much? Ah, I understand. Kingping Jian exclaimed, it's like putting something in a locked box. As long as you take great pains to open the lock, you'll think that the thing in the box is a treasure, but you will never expect that the treasure is hidden in the inner layer of the box. Is that what you mean? Yes, Kingping, you can finally follow my thinking. Ling Yunpo said with a chuckle, then the next step is to show the corresponding lock to the other party. He dealt with the curious tribesmen, and then found Fenrir who brought him in before, and chatted with them. By the way, how many tribesmen are there in our tribe now? About 500. Fenrir replied. What about the transformed ones? About 1/5 of the children have not transformed. It seems that the birth rate of newborns is very healthy. Ling Yunpo nodded, showing a thoughtful expression. What about tribe education? Tribe education? What is that? Fenrir asked in confusion. Nothing. Ling Yunpo skillfully changed the subject. By the way, there are many beautiful girls in the clan. Yes. Fenrir immediately became excited. Let me tell you, look at that one over there, the feathers are very bright. Right, the two chatted with their arms around each other. Half a minute later, the content of their conversation appeared word for word in front of the table of the clan leader and the two elders. Birth rate. The clan leader frowned and said, why is Fenrir concerned about the birth rate in the clan? The birth rate of a family is the most basic indicator that affects whether the family can continue. One of the elders said casually. What do you mean? Another elder frowned and asked, he wants to find out the strength foundation of the clan. Chapter 520. Eloquent and eloquent. Ling Yunpo walked around the clan for a few times and got to know many vermilion bird monks. He was eloquent and eloquent. Whether the other party was a child, a young man or an old woman, he could say a few nice words and quickly make the relationship from stranger to familiar. At the same time, his conversations with the clan members were secretly recorded in detail and reported to the table of the clan leader and the two elders. Clan education. Why is he asking this? Seeing the simple clan members foolishly revealing their secrets under Fenrir's clever questioning, the clan leader felt a little embarrassed. It was too embarrassing. The Vermilion Bird clan now has no so-called clan education. The locking demon tower isolates the inside and outside, let alone the scriptures and jade slips. Even ordinary paper is difficult to get. In addition, the competition among the monsters in the tower is fierce, and from time to time, the Shushan disciples who are undergoing trials will come in, resulting in the clan's cultural inheritance being interrupted for several generations, and there is not much useful information left. The possibility of the Tian and Zhu family can basically be ruled out. The elder next to him said, intelligence can be stolen, identities can be disguised, but thinking patterns are difficult to imitate, and even unable to understand each other. The human race occupies the vast Shenzhou, and the number is almost endless, so they don't care whether the number of newborns this year is more or less. The land of Jiuzhou has many talents, and the best ones are selected to be admitted, so they don't care whether the quality of children's education is good or bad. But the demon race is not like this. In terms of the number of demons alone, they are even far more than the human race. But there are too many hatreds between different races, and they can't unite at all. If they are singled out, they will be beaten by the human race. The East Empire realm is the best example. Obviously everyone was driven here by the human race, and after so many years, they don't want to counterattack the human world, but only want to fight each other. Because of this, they are very sensitive to the number of newborns and clan education of a clan, because this determines how many transformed monks, how many demon kings, and whether there will be ancestors in the future. First of all, the possibility that Feng Jiu is a human spy is ruled out. So, what is the other party's background? Why is he so interested in the basic situation of the Vermilion Bird clan in the tower? How about asking the ancestors to ask him directly? An elder suggested. In the clan land, Ling Yunpa was still chatting with the Vermilion Birds, and he had a headache. These feathered cultivators were too talkative, their voices were sharp and fast, and they couldn't stop, which made his head hurt. Feng Jiu. A little bird tried to climb onto his knees. Are you my uncle? My mother's name is Feng Si. Mrs. Feng Si smiled shyly beside her, and seemed to like seeing her daughter getting close to this foreigner. Ling Yunpo took her down, but she climbed up again, which made Ling Yunpo very annoyed. He could only gently discuss with Feng Si. Madam, I think children should not crawl around. You don't want your daughter to fall and get hurt, right? Oh, my daughter likes you very much. Mrs. Feng Si was not only not worried, but also threw him a wink. It seems that Feng Jiu can be a good father. Don't be like this, madam, your husband is still in the crowd behind. Feng Jiu, come with me, the clan leader wants to see you. Fortunately, his uncle Feng Ye finally showed up and shook his knees off Ling Yunpo's legs. Ling Yunpo followed him to the bottom of the fusam tree, and saw the clan leader and two elders waiting there. You should know who you are going to see this time, right? After Feng Ye left, the clan leader asked in a faint tone. Seeing his serious expression and a look of "I see through you, little guy," Ling Yunpo immediately put on his acting skills and said lightly, "Well, then please let the way." Everyone walked into the tree of the fusam tree, circled down the steps, and finally came to a small room deep inside. Inside the room, an old and vigorous old man was meditating, wearing thin and simple clothes. Ling Yunpo only took a look at him and knew that this must be the ancestor of the Vermilion Bird clan. The demons practice clan culture, and the greatest in a clan is the immortal ancestor. In the Locking Demon Tower, most clans do not have ancestors. But a clan that can have 3-digit transformed monks is one of the most powerful clans in the Locking Demon Tower, and it is impossible that it does not have ancestors. There are strong and weak ancestors in the demon clan. The strong ones, such as Yinglong, are basically at the level of Daluo Jingxian. The weak ones are probably about the same as Dixian. As for the Thunao ancestor in front of him, the answer given by Kunlun Mirror is that he is about the realm of Jingxian. A Feng Jiu? Thunao ancestor opened his eyes and looked at him expressionlessly. It's me. Ling Yunpo nodded and said. Why did you come to the Locking Demon Tower? Thunao ancestor asked slowly. Tushanjun can come, why can't I? Ling Yunpo asked him in return. Our Vermilion Bird clan rules the southern province, but are we not as capable as the Kinkyo Sky Fox in the western province? Upon hearing this, the Vermilion Bird ancestor pondered, and then slowly laughed. As you can see, our clan is now in decline. The number of newborns is still healthy, but the clan education is almost non-existent. Many members of the clan can't even use their bloodline or magical powers, and can only fight with their claws and beaks. In this secret realm, every 39 rotations, it will be connected to other secret realms, and the two clans can launch a war against each other. This is a fair and above-board internal consumption strategy adopted by Shushan against us, but we have no choice. If we don't invade other clans to strengthen ourselves, other clans will come to invade us. Ling Yunpo thought for a moment and nodded. My feather clan is strong in mobility. In terms of the war form in the Demon Locking Tower, if we choose to stay in our old nest, we will lose half the battle at the beginning. Only by actively attacking the opponent and pushing the front line forward can we create sufficient strategic depth. It seems that you are not an ordinary feather clan cultivator. The Vermilion Bird Patriarch smiled faintly. What does the clan mean? Ling Yunpo replied calmly. The clan has no intention, but because of the fact that Tu Shanjun secretly helped the Jialong clan before, an elder mentioned it a few times at the clan meeting. The Vermilion Bird Patriarch listened silently, and soon restored the truth in his mind. Tu Shanjun had helped the Jialong clan escape from the Demon Locking Tower. After the news spread to the Vermilion Bird clan in the East Empire realm, it is estimated that an elder proposed. We also have people trapped in the Demon Locking Tower. Can we send people to help them? Naturally, this brainstorming proposal was met with a cold reception. After all, it was not realistic to counterattack the human world, and the Vermilion Bird clan in the tower could not escape back, so I invest resources in this area. The failure of the Jialong clan's riot proved that Shushan was still not doomed at this time. Everyone is very realistic, and every penny has to be spent carefully, so the compatriots imprisoned in the demon-locking tower can only suffer more. Behind this Feng Jiu, there is undoubtedly an elder who sympathizes with the people in the demon-locking tower. As for who it is, don't ask too much, just see if you can get benefits first. We can't provide much. The old ancestor Thu now exhaled a long breath. What can the envoy provide us? The skills. Ling Yunpo said in a low voice, the inheritance cannot be broken. The skills, oh, I should have thought of it earlier. The old ancestor Thu now understood. If it is some elixir or a magic weapon, they are all resources for cultivation, and it is impossible to give them away. Only the bloodliner skills can be copied with the Jade Slip, which does not cost anything at all. However, what our tribe lacks most now is precisely these skills, let alone the tribe members. Even he, the Vermilion Bird ancestor who was born in the demon-locking tower and cultivated to the immortal level alone, is probably not as good as the envoy from our tribe in mastering the bloodliner magic because of the lack of inheritance of skills. What the elders mean? Ling Yunpo suddenly said, first see if the tribe can gain a foothold in the demon-locking tower. The implication is that investment also depends on the corresponding potential. If the Vermilion Bird branch in the demon-locking tower does not even have a cultivator at the level of the ancestor, then it may be destroyed by other tribes at some point, and there will be no need to donate resources. What proof does the envoy want? The Vermilion Bird ancestor smiled slightly. 9 Transformation Vermilion Phoenix Pill. Ling Yunpo said in a deep voice. Take one of my feathers, and it can also be used as proof. The Vermilion Bird ancestor tried to bargain. Although he, as an ancestor, can refine the 9 Transformation Vermilion Phoenix Pill, the output is not high, and he feels a little distressed to take it out as proof. Only the 9-turn Vermilion Phoenix Pill, the Tianan's Yu family has no chance of owning it. Ling Yunpo said in a tough tone. Oh, the Tianan's Yu family, the Thu now patriarch sighed. On the surface, it was the Donghuan realm's main family who was worried that the envoy had connections with the Tianan's Yu family, so they took the Phoenix's remains from the Yu family and went back to lie that the branch family in the locking demon tower was still there. In fact, it was the elder behind Feng Jie who wanted to use these free skills to covet an extra 9-turn Vermilion Phoenix Pill, so he just made up an excuse. Thinking of this, the Thu now patriarch took out a small wooden bottle from his arms. Chapter 521. Cloud Sea Sky Realm, Cloud Top Palace. In the passageway leading out of the Death Gate secret realm, the illusion template was quickly removed, revealing Ling Yunpo's appearance. He used some of the Phoenix's magical secrets copied from Junior Sisters Yu to successfully exchange the 9-turn Vermilion Phoenix Pill from the Vermilion Bird ancestor. As for the scent by the clan, of course, it was all lies. You should know that in ancient times, the Phoenix clan was the collective name of the 5 clans of Vermilion Bird, Blue Liuan, Phoenix, and Honghu. Just like the ancient Chuan clan, which was actually the collective name of the Jialong and the Black Tortoise. However, nowadays, these 5 feathered clans have separated, the name of the Phoenix was inherited by the original Phoenix, and the Phoenix evolved into the Depend Bird, and each regarded the other as an outsider. As for the clan in the locking demon tower, although they also claim to be the Vermilion Bird clan and the Phoenix legacy, their bloodliner and the Vermilion Bird clan that now rules Nanzhou in the Eastern Empire realm have long been differentiated to a very different point. So much so that the Nanzhou Vermilion Bird didn't even consider them as their own family members. As a joke, the Phoenix bloodliner in the demon-locking tower is actually closer to the Tianan's Yu family than the Nanzhou Vermilion Bird in the Eastern Empire realm in terms of blood relationship. Fortunately, Ling Yunpo simulated the Phoenix bloodliner of Zhu Yinlian, so they could recognize them as their own family through their breath. If he had simulated the current Nanzhou Vermilion Bird, they might have regarded them as foreigners. When Ling Yunpo returned to the demon-locking tower, he saw Nzisu sitting cross-legged in the middle of the hall, with the handlai sword placed flat on her knees. Seeing that Ling Yunpo had finally returned, Nzisu opened her eyes and smiled happily. Senior sister. Ling Yunpo took out the 9 Transformation Vermilion Phoenix Pill. Open your mouth. Nzisu opened her mouth, not caring at all what Ling Yunpo fed her. This is the 9-turn Red Phoenix Pill. After she had digested the medicinal power, Ling Yunpo smiled and said, it is equivalent to 70 years of Watu cultivation. Oh. Nzisu said softly. If it was someone else, knowing that he had 70 years of Watu cultivation, He would probably worship Ling Yunpo as a benefactor. But senior sister Ling was different. In her opinion, junior brother Ling could have sprinted for the second-grade golden elixir in order to better protect the King Luo Peak lineage, but now he only had to settle for the third grade. This was already the biggest sacrifice. He owed junior brother too much, and acting a 70-year-old purple mansion secret medicine didn't seem to be a big deal. Therefore, she just silently circulated her true energy to digest the medicinal power in her stomach, and asked, "Where are we going next?" "Senior sister, follow me," Ling Yunpo said calmly. When they arrived at the 30th floor of the locking demon tower, Zisu asked in surprise, "Junior brother, are you going to take me to the Cloud Sea Sky Realm?" "That's right," Ling Yunpo said with a smile. "But doesn't the Cloud Sea Cocoon say that it can only be accelerated once?" Zisu hesitated and said, "It's easy to go insane if you enter it for the second time." "That's right," Ling Yunpo comforted her, "but I have a way to solve this problem. Senior sister, just go into the cocoon and practice." "Okay." Since the junior brother said so, Zisu stopped thinking about it. The two of them stepped into the Jinmen passage on the 30th floor and arrived at the Cloud Sea empty realm again. There was no sky above and no ground below, and there was a clear blue sky and misty clouds everywhere. There were a large number of giant cocoons in front of them, supported by slender silk pillars below, and countless raptors and monsters were hovering in the distance, screaming sharply, but they were unwilling to approach this cocoon forest. The two found a giant cocoon, and Zisu carefully got in. Soon, she fell into a mysterious sleep. "Time flows through the gap, stop for me," Kumlin Jing said lazily. "Then what?" Ling Yunpo asked curiously. "I have temporarily slowed down the flow of time in your senior sister's empty cocoon to the lowest speed," Kumlin Mirror replied. "When we have collected all the fragments, we will come back to help her adjust it again." "Humph, broken mirror." Ling Yunpo was angry instead of happy. "How many abilities do you still have that you have hidden from me?" "Ahem, actually I have never hidden anything from you," Kumlin Mirror said sincerely. "Some abilities I have only recovered slowly after I got the fragments. Other abilities I didn't tell you because you didn't ask. In that case, after you have collected all the fragments, I will have you make a list and write down all the abilities you have." Ling Yunpo thought and said, "No problem." Kumlin Mirror replied, cursing in his heart. "Where are your fragments?" Ling Yunpo looked around. "Don't worry," Kumlin Mirror said. "First, we have to find the source of these giant time cocoons, that is, the cloud-weaving spiders. The cloud-weaving spiders should be at the bottom of the cocoon forest." Ling Yunpo looked down along the silk column supporting the giant cocoon. "In fact, it's not at the bottom," Kumlin Mirror corrected him. "The space here is different from the usual one. You can't judge up and down by the direction of gravity." "Jin, you said that, and I remember it," Ling Yunpo said thoughtfully. "Many Shushan monks have tried to explore this place, but found that no matter up or down, front or back, left or right, there is no way to reach the end. That's because the space here is an unorientable two-dimensional compact manifold," Kumlin Mirror replied. "What compact manifold?" Ling Yunpo was immediately dumbfounded. "To put it simply, the space here is distorted in a higher dimension," Kumlin Mirror said simply. "Continuous movement cannot reach the boundary. We need to jump." It took Ling Yunpo to start teleporting. After several times, they are right at the bottom of the cocoon forest they had been to last time. There was an endless land under their feet, and the clear water flows almost just up to the ankles. Many cloud-weaving spiders fled in panic on the water, and Ling Yunpo shot out a sword lighter at one up and pulled it in front of him. The spider's body was only the size of a ping-pong ball, but its 8 legs were long and thin. There was a ruby-like eyeball on its head, which kept turning around, revealing its inner fear. It was pretty cute. "The cloud-weaving spider has been caught," Ling Yunpo asked Kumlin Mirror. "What should we do next?" "Let it run away, and then follow it," Kumlin Mirror replied. "See where these cloud-weaving spiders get their food from, and then weave the silk with the avenue of time." Ling Yunpo did as he was told, put the cloud-weaving spider on the water, and then followed it around. After about 2 hours, the cloud-weaving spider suddenly dived into the water and disappeared. "A Jin?" Ling Yunpo asked. "Interesting disguise," Kumlin Mirror commented. "Do you find it strange? Where does the water under your feet come from?" "Where does it come from?" Ling Yunpo just repeated, and he felt dizzy and was soon teleported to another cave. The sky here was still clear and blue, and below was the endless ocean. Many cloud-weaving spiders were running around on the rolling sea, and under the surging waves, schools of fish kept rushing out of the water, trying to swallow that cloud-weaving spiders into their mouths. In the distant sky, above the clouds, the outline of a magnificent palace complex was faintly emerging. Huge water columns fell from the edge of the palace complex and fell into the sea, forming a large number of waterfalls. Jing. What's wrong? How much do you like the palace? Chapter 522. Avenue of Time, River Source Pure Bottle. Ling Yunpo flew up on his sword. When he arrived at the temple on the top of the cloud, he found the surroundings very strange. The square, corridor, attic, there was surging water everywhere, and there was almost no place for people to stand. Be careful. Kunlun Mirror suddenly said, there is the power of the great dew of time in those water flows. Ling Yunpo calmly took a hair from his head and threw it into the rapidly flowing water. The hair quickly turned white and withered, and then disappeared. Time acceleration. Ling Yunpo frowned and asked. When falling into the rapids, the time of objects will be quickly compressed. Kunlun Mirror replied, from our outside world, it seems that the objects immersed in it have gone through tens of thousands of years in a few breaths. So be careful, once you fall into it, you will find that the speed around you has become extremely fast. When you finally get out of it, the compressed time will rebound and you will die immediately. Jin, why do your body fragments have so many strange abilities, but you, as a weapon spirit, are the most useless one? Ling Yunpo asked puzzled. Kunlun Jing sneered in his heart, but said, the more powerful the magical power, the greater the cost of using it. Why do the cultivation talents I gave you require you to play that corresponding character to take effect? Because this way, even if you borrowed it, you don't have to pay an extra price. It doesn't matter if you don't understand. The avenue of time and space is the most obscure, and I can't explain it to you clearly. Just do what I tell you, and I won't hurt you. TSK, playing tricks. Ling Yunpo thought to himself. But since Kunlun Jing was unwilling to say it, forcing her would only get lies, so Ling Yunpo could only keep this grudging mind and fly around again. Through patient wandering and careful observation, Ling Yunpo found that there were 4 kinds of water flows here. Water flowing rapidly on flat ground. Water that falls vertically and is also very slow. Water that is completely solidified and does not flow. And some strange water that flows back uphill. Rapid current means time is accelerated, Kunlun Jing explained patiently. Slow current means time is slowed down. Solidification means time is frozen. Reverse flow means time is reversed. In either case, it will bring serious harm to you, so try to avoid contact with these water flows. Jin, I have a question. Ling Yunpo asked curiously, if I immerse myself in the reversed water, does it mean that my lifespan will increase in reverse? Yes and no. Kunlun Jing knew what he was up to as soon as he heard it, and immediately said, don't forget, your total memory also increases with the passage of time. As long as you step into the water flow, your memory, your personality, and even your cultivation level will disappear as time goes by. I see. Ling Yunpo nodded and said, that is to say, if I capture the enemy and immerse them in this water, I can quickly erase their memory, right? Yes, Kunlun Jing said with difficulty, thinking to himself, why can you always come up with so many weird things that normal people can't think of? Is there any way to collect these water flows? Ling Yunpo became interested. No. Kunlun Mirror patiently explained, strictly speaking, these water flows are not caused by my fragments, but the manifestation of the out-of-control space-time avenue. After I collect the fragments, the space-time avenue here will return to normal, and the water flows will lose the corresponding strange effects. Then can you not collect your fragments for the time being? No. Get out. Kunlun Mirror finally broke through the defensor, if you bother me again, I will immediately turn against you. Ling Yunpo sighed and gave up the idea of using these time and water flows. In any case, Jing is still the most important thing now, and he cannot afford the price of losing Jing. Guessing what Ling Yunpo was thinking, Kunlun Mirror also sneered a few times, and became more determined to have some ulterior thoughts. Ling Yunpo circled around the cloud-top palace to investigate, and finally found an attic that was not covered by the water flow. Carefully pushing the door in, he saw that there was a riot of demons here. A large amount of water flowed like tentacles, irregularly entrenched on the walls, floor and ceiling, flowing. Tables, chairs, wooden tables, flower pots, and all kinds of objects seemed to have lost their gravity and floated in the small room. As a sword immortal, Ling Yunpo naturally had excellent eyesight. He saw that the surface of these floating objects was also covered with solidified watermarks. Be careful. Kunlun Mirror reminded, if you touch the watermarks on these objects, you will also fall into a state of time stagnation. You need to carefully avoid these objects and pass through this room swiftly and lightly. Although it seems difficult, with your dividing cloud back you a step, you should be able to do it. Got it. Ling Yunpo flew out of the attic again, and then pinched the Taoist formula outside. 5 thunders, thunder, explode. Lightning quickly rushed into the attic, and then exploded from the open door and window. Under the dull gaze of Kunlun Mirror, Ling Yunpo carefully poked his head in and saw that the objects that were originally floating in the air had been blown into powder by thunder. These dusts were pushed onto the wall by the shock wave, and mixed with the dense water flow, and there were also a few faint flashes of lightning, that was part of the energy of the thunder, which turned into time stagnation lightning after hitting the solidified watermarks on the surface of the artifact. This building is quite solid. Ling Yunpo commented, if it were an ordinary building, the whole building would probably be reduced to dust after being blown up by my thunder. Yeah. Kunlun Jing replied absent-mindedly. Why didn't I think of using offensive means to destroy these artifacts? After all, these artifacts are not all wrapped in water flow. A powerful thunder can penetrate from a place where there is no water flow and destroy the artifact from the inside, so that these dangerous water flows lose their floating carriers. Alas, it seems that my thinking is still not flexible enough, and I can't compare with this guy, Kunlun Mirror thought in despair, while Ling Yunpo had already passed through the attic and continued to go deeper. He bombarded the objects he encountered along the way and finally came to the highest room in the palace. The mirror fragments were placed on the high platform in the center of the room, and next to it was an overturned white bottle. A large amount of water continued to flow out of the bottle, flowing along the floor, as if it was endless. Oh, isn't this the Huan bottle? Kingping Sword suddenly exclaimed in surprise. Huan bottle. Ling Yunpo had never heard of this word. Never heard of it. You must have heard of Daew's flood control. Kingping Sword said with a chuckle. Legend has it that in ancient times, after Muwei repaired the sky, floods gradually retreated from the Shenzhou continent, but 12 major rivers were still left, often flooding and endangering people. Later, Daew recalled his ancestors, blocked their sources, and collected the sources of 10 of the rivers for refining, leaving only the southern and northern rivers to nourish the people in the north and south. As for the sources of the 10 rivers, they were refined into various magic weapons by Daew, and their subsequent whereabouts are unknown. The Huan Jinping is one of them. It is rumored that as long as it is poured, endless water will gush out and crush all enemies. I didn't expect it to be placed in this locking demon tower. So it's this kind of magic weapon. Ling Yunpo was secretly happy when he heard that the magic weapon was powerful. This treasure is destined to be with me, and it should be my trump card. He was about to go forward to get it, but Kunlun Mirror suddenly said, wait a minute. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novelers, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelers. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 523 Round Mirror, Round Face. Wait a minute. Ling Yunpo was horrified and stepped back. He wondered if there was any mechanism ahead that was scanned by a jinn. Guanzu, this magic weapon is not easy to control. It contains the source of a big river. Kunlun Mirror said solemnly, it is because my fragments are located here that I can control the amount of water that is pouring out of it by disrupting time. If you take this magic weapon and accidentally dump it somewhere later, it will cause serious disasters. At the time, all the karma will be punished on you. Ling Yunpo was silent for a moment and smiled. So what? Will I make such a low-level mistake? Besides, even if I really dropped it accidentally, a jinn, won't you remind me? There is also Kingping. Kunlun Mirror was speechless. Ling Yunpo walked forward calmly, took off the fragment of Kunlun Mirror with his left hand, and at the same time lifted up the overturned Huan Jinping with his right hand, without worrying about any traps. Because he knew that our jinn would definitely remind him. So the speed of the surrounding water flow immediately returned to normal, and all kinds of strange phenomena disappeared instantly. This place turned into an ordinary waterlogged room. How does it feel to collect all the fragments? Ling Yunpo asked, is there any new ability that can make me instantly form an infant and become an immortal? No, thank you. Kunlun Jing said unhappily, it's just that after the main body is collected, I don't have to stay in your sea of consciousness. I can choose to leave you at any time and find a new savior. Okay, that's good. Ling Yunpo thought to himself that if it was so easy to find a new host, why would you stay by my side? You left me a long time ago, okay? I don't know you yet, Broken Mirror? That is to say, if I encounter any danger, you can also come out to help me fight, right? Ling Yunpo suddenly asked. I'm afraid not. Lin Jing refused. Fighting is not my forte, I'm just a mirror. You're an innate spiritual treasure. Ling Yunpo reminded her. Isn't the mirror of an innate spiritual treasure also a mirror? The mirror was unmoved. I'm only good at manipulating time and space and illusions. In other words, you can come out and help me use illusions, right? Ling Yunpo thought again. For example, I need an actor to cooperate with me in a performance. You first show up in your true form, and then use an illusion of mirror flowers and walk to moons to help me disguise ye. Of course you can. Mirror pondered, but I don't understand. For example, in what kind of situation do you need me to act with you? Ling Yunpo was stunned for a moment. For example, when my identity was exposed and I was hunted by Senior Sister Anne. Mirror. Ling Yunpo suddenly realized and said proudly. For example, if my identity is suddenly exposed one day, and Senior Sister Anne is so angry that she wants to kill me with a sword, then you'll first turn me into Qiu Chain Tian, and then you'll turn yourself into Ling Yunpo, and we will go separately. You will lead Senior Sister Anne away, and then teleport back directly. You wish. Ling Yunpo's neck was pinched before he finished speaking. You think of using me as a shield all day long, right? I have wanted to strangle you to death for a long time. Ling Yunpo was caught off guard and was pushed to the ground by her neck. But he was a sword fairy of Shushan after all, and his reaction speed was also very fast. In an instant, he supported himself with his left hand to stabilize his balance, and with a push of his right hand, he turned the other party under his body. The one who attacked him and was subdued was a petite girl, about 1.6 meters tall, with decent facial features, but her round face was a little chubby, which made her look particularly cute. Although the other party was subdued by him, she stared at him with big eyes, not afraid at all. Ling Yunpo. Who are you? He was shocked. I'm Jing. The girl pushed him away with force, showing her little tiger teeth angrily. If you keep pretending not to recognize me, I'll bite you. I don't believe it. Ling Yunpo said calmly, unless you change yourself to show me. Jing can change into anything in this world. Before he finished speaking, the girl with an oval face suddenly transformed into a handsome man. I'm Qiu Chain Tian, the most pretentious person in Kunlin. The handsome man said with a go, and then transformed into a handsome young man with a resolute face. I'm Ling Yunpo. I love bullying my senior sister and I'm afraid of being chopped by her sword. Then he turned into a squinty-eyed handsome guy and said with a smile. I'm Luoyan. 9 out of 10 sentences I tell lies. Enough, enough. Ling Yunpo interrupted with a headache. I believe you were Jing. Stop acting. It's so awkward. What's up? Jing turned back into an oval-faced girl and asked with her hands on her hips, are you done with anything? Nothing to say. Ling Yunpo waved his hand. Who did you copy this look from? Your face is a little fat. I didn't copy anyone. This was drawn by the Empress herself. Jing poked her cheek with her finger. I know I'm cute, you don't have to comment. I won't comment. Ling Yunpo felt a little uncomfortable. This broken mirror turned into a girl, and she especially liked to act cute. What's going on? I can only say that the psychological gap is a bit big, and I need some time to relax. Let's go find Senior Sister Anne. He stood up and performed the universal clear sound small light technique to dry the wet clothes on his back. Let's go. Jing nodded, and then turned into a stream of light again, drilling into his brow. In the sea of consciousness, King Ping Sword said with a smile. Yo-yo, the look that the sword master gave you just now seemed to be very amazed. Of course. Kunlun Mirror said proudly, as an innate spiritual treasure, my beauty is invincible even after the transformation. Then if the sword master falls in love with you and intends to abandon his so-called junior sisters, senior sisters, and eldest daughters, what should you do? King Ping Sword joked. This is indeed a problem. Kunlun Mirror thought, although in this way, he will obey me in the future, but if he commits a heartless act because of this, wouldn't it be my fault? I don't think so. King Ping Sword said seriously, if this is true, it can only mean that this man himself is a heartless person, but we women can't be blamed. That makes sense. Kunlun Mirror suddenly understood. Ling Yunpo was unaware of the conversation between the mirror and the sword, and quickly left the cloud-top palace, only to see that the ocean below had disappeared. Only the bottomless sky remained. Because the fragments were taken away, the originally distorted space here is returning to normal. Kunlun Mirror explained, you just need to continue going down, and you will soon reach the cocoon forest where Senior Sister is. Then is the time acceleration effect of the Cloud Sea cocoon still there? Ling Yunpo frowned and asked. Of course it is. Kunlun Mirror replied, the time acceleration effect of the Cloud Sea cocoon comes from some of the cloud silk that has changed after being affected by the avenue of time, and is not directly related to the fragments themselves. It's just that after the fragments were taken away, the avenue of time no longer affects the surrounding water flow. The subsequent empty cocoons woven by the cloud-weaving spider will not have the time acceleration effect. Is that so? Ling Yunpo did not feel any guilt for accidentally destroying the secret realm of the Purple Mansion. He just cared about Senior Sister Am's situation, and quickly pressed down the sword light and descended. Chapter 524. The father-in-law's fatal question. Arriving in the cocoon forest, Zisu was still sleeping in the cocoon, with her arms around her knees and her body curled up like a baby. Since the flow of time has been slowed down, she is currently unaware of anything in the cocoon. Speed up, Jing. Ling Yunpo ordered, go back 30 years in time, and keep her sanity, okay? The time power of this cloud cocoon can only go forward 30 years. Kunlun Jing stood beside him and said, leave it to me. Jing, what's wrong? Tell me before you come out next time, don't scare me. Kunlun Jing rolled his eyes and put his hand on the empty cocoon. Soon, Zisu inside slowly opened her eyes. At this time, Kunlun Jing had returned to the sea of consciousness, and saw Zisu struggling to get out of the cocoon. Ling Yunpo held her arm and asked with concern, Senior Sister, are you okay? It's okay, I just have a headache. Zisu shook her head and looked inward again. Sure enough, the Danton was full of true essence, and the Jade Palace was natural, which had reached the threshold of 400 years. Junior brother, my cultivation has reached the 2nd grade golden elixir, Zisu said happily, but before he finished speaking, his nose twitched suddenly. Where did the strange fragrance come from? Junior brother. Zisu suddenly asked, has anyone been here? No. Ling Yunpo's heart was alarmed, and he quickly answered, I went down to catch some cloud-weaving spiders, and then came back, but I have never seen anyone come here. Is that so? Zisu did not doubt it, thinking that it might not be the fragrance of the daughter, or perhaps the breath of something else. The two set off again and left the Yunhei Kongjing. Senior Sister, wait here for a while, I have something else to do. Back in the hall, Ling Yunpo said with a smile. Okay, I'll wait for you here. Zisu said softly. Ling Yunpo left his senior sister and went down to the 47th floor again, passing through the death gate and entering the deep sea abyss. I remember the last time I entered the abyss with Tarshanjan as Kyo Chain Tian, at the level of the marrow cleansing stage. I was still trembling with fear and treading on thin ice. Now that I have experienced Long, entering the bottom of the deep sea again is like returning home, so comfortable. Jin, come to Long's template. Seeing the demonic energy coming from the front, Ling Yunpo said hurriedly. As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly turned into Long's appearance. Two dragons swam over from a distance. Seeing that Long was obviously also a dragon, they were obviously stunned. Who are you? One of the dragons asked. None of your business. Long showed his true form and swaggered away. The two dragons stared at him, leaving in a daze. The dragon who spoke first said, I haven't seen him before. Who is this? He has a very tough personality and is a bit handsome. The female dragon next to him commented. What's so handsome about it? The male dragon was immediately shocked. Sister, can you be more normal? Regardless of how the dragon brothers and sisters reacted, Long led the way with his real body and swaggered to the bottom of the abyss. He still encountered many dragons on the way, and he dealt with them with flexible gestures and words. Perhaps because they had been locked up in the demon locking tower for too long and lacked clan education, the IQ of these ordinary dragons was not much higher than that of the vermilion bird. Finally, they came to the entrance of the infernal realm. Kunlun Mirror used the space magic to teleport Long to the independent space where Yinglong was. Just after switching to Kyo Chain Tian's template, Yinglong raised his huge head on the distant mountain of knives and looked at him with a majestic look. I found your daughter. Kyo Chain Tian got straight to the point and went straight to the point. Oh? Yinglong said lazily, where's the evidence? Your daughter has the blood of a human, a dragon, and a fox, so her blood is unstable and her life is in danger. Seeing that he didn't believe it, Kyo Chain Tian laughed and said, your wife sealed most of her dragon blood with the fragments of the sky repairing stone, so that the blood in her body is balanced. Yinglong raised his head and suddenly slapped the Night Mountain with his tail. The whole space was almost collapsing, the blood river turned upside down, and even the sky almost changed color. Before Qiu Changtime could react, he saw Yinglong had already lowered his head in front of him, and his golden vertical pupils stared at his eyes tightly. Have you seen them? Where are they now, and how are they? Qiu Changtime's back was slightly sweaty, but he didn't answer, just smiled. Sure enough, when Yinglong saw that he was unwilling to speak, he understood what he meant and said, apart from scales and blood essence, I don't have any extra magic tools. I can only give you one more drop of blood essence, you don't need to bleed. Qiu Changtime said lightly, I want the secret magic of the Jialong clan. My clan's bloodline are magic. Yinglong was stunned for a moment, then said, you are not from my clan, what do you want my clan's magic secrets for? At this point, he seemed to have thought of something and laughed. So that's it, your ancestors have dragon blood, so you borrowed my blood essence to purify your blood, and now you covet my magic, right? Qiu Changtime heard it and knew that Yinglong had thought wrong. He probably regarded himself as a descendant of a family with dragon bloodline like the Zhu family in Tianan. Let's stop talking nonsense and just ask what the senior is going to do. Qiu Changtime asked calmly. No problem. Yinglong said readily, tell me about their current situation first. It's hard for me to say about your wife's situation. Qiu Changtime said implicitly, we can talk about your daughter Longhu's matter. It's hard to say, in other words, it means can't bear to say, the meaning is self-evident. Yinglong was silent for a long time, and said faintly, where is Longhu, how is she? Longhu is now in the clan land of the Kanglong clan, and is well protected. Qiu Changtime's voice had not yet fallen, and he saw Longwei rushing towards him like a knife, almost suffocating him. You. Yinglong's fury hit him like a mounting, as if it was going to rip him open. I told you that you would take her to Beiming Yujing. Of course I haven't forgotten. Qiu Changtime said calmly, but Beiming Fanyan is blocked by the Black Turtle clan. Do you want me to ignore it and forcibly take Longhu to break through the blockade of the Black Turtle clan? The Cunning clan has not lost its power yet. Cunning clan, Yinglong said in a cold tone, and his original anger gradually subsided, I know. By the way, Qiu Changtime added, with the support of the Kanglong clan, Longhu has successfully transformed. Transformed, right? Yinglong said calmly, suddenly lowered his head again, looked Qiu Changtime with his golden vertical pupils, and asked majestically, human, my daughter is very beautiful after transforming. Qiu Changtime. No, this seems to be a life-threatening question. Chapter 525. Senior Sister Anne, Overcome the Tribulation. The question from the old father-in-law is a typical life-threatening question. If you answer your daughter is very smooth, you may be slapped to death by the old father for daring to have ideas about my daughter. But if you answer your daughter is really not good enough, you may be slapped to death by the old father for not being able to distinguish between beauty and ugliness. But who is Ling Yunpo? How could he be stumped by such a trick? He smiled and said, the appearance of Ling Qianjun after her transformation can be said to have inherited the advantages of both her parents. Yinglong was silent for a moment after hearing this, revealing an extremely subtle expression. What a perfect answer. If you ask Yinglong how good he and his wife look, the answer is obviously beyond doubt. The other party flattered him so well that he had no way to get angry. Well, if such a quick-witted human race entrusted the Dragon Fox to him, he could be relieved. I just don't know what his character is like. As the saying goes, it is difficult to draw the bones of a tiger, and you can know a person's face but not his heart. If this person is righteous, but actually heartless and disloyal, then it will hurt the Dragon Fox to meet the wrong person. But, Yinglong laughed and sighed in his heart. In my current state, what right do I have to choose? I don't know how much you know about the bloodline of my clan. Yinglong closed his huge eyes and said lightly, when dragons fight, there are 3 types: law, technique, and momentum. Momentum is the power of the dragon. Law is the breath of the dragon. Technique is the dragon's attack. In your opinion, which one comes first? Is this to test my knowledge? Qiu Changtime smiled lightly. Of course, he couldn't know nothing about the Dragon Clan, and said calmly, naturally, momentum is the best, law is the middle, and technique is the worst. Momentum, dragon power, using the power of the Dragon Clan to attack the enemy, almost does not consume their own strength, so it is the best strategy. The first method, Dragon Breath, is to use various magic skills unique to the dragon race. Although most of them are long-range attacks, they need to consume the physical strength of the demon, so it is a medium strategy. The second method, Dragon Strike, includes various close-range dragon fighting techniques. Not only does it seriously consume the physical strength of the demon, but there is also the risk of being injured by the opponent, so it is a bad strategy. Of course, many young dragons don't think so. They think that punching the flesh is the most satisfying. Qiu Chang's did not comment on this idea. He was already past the age of fighting for strength and victory. Yinglong was also very satisfied with Qiu Chang's answer. He nodded and said, "This is a mature and prudent statement." He pondered for a moment, and suddenly spit out a scale and floated it in front of Qiu Chang's. All the dragon bloodline or magical powers you desire are in this scale. The method of use is similar to the jade slip. Take it, take good care of my daughter. Qiu Chang's looked at the scale silently, but did not reach out to take it. Yinglong frowned, and then Qiu Chang's pinched the dough formula, and the universal clear sound light technique lit up, cleaning all the saliva on the scales. "Hey, you kid," Yinglong subconsciously wanted to be furious, but thinking that his daughter was still in someone else's hands, he had to force himself to hold back his anger, coiled around the knife mountain and closed his eyes without saying a word. Qiu Chang's took the scales and probed into it with his spiritual sense, confirming that the 3 types of bloodline or magical powers were all available. However, there were only the skills of the transformation stage, but no magical powers of the Demon King stage. He looked at Yinglong and laughed. "Childish. Isn't it just waiting for me to be promoted to the Demon King realm, so that I can come back and exchange the news of the Dragon Fox with you? If you say it directly, I will still respect you as my father-in-law. What's the matter with your sinister behavior? Can I kidnap your daughter and not tell you her whereabouts?" Looking at the unpleasant smile on Qiu Chang's face, Yinglong silently suppressed the thought of slapping him to death with a claw, and opened the exit of Wujian for him. Qiu Chang's left Wujian and switched to Linglong's template again, leaving Haiyuan's secret realm calmly. As Senior Sister left the demon-locking tower, Ling Yunpo asked curiously, "Senior Sister, where are you going to survive the tribulation?" Zisu pondered for a moment and said, "People in Shushan usually survive the tribulation in Lidanping. If you don't go to Lidanping, then continue to go west and survive the tribulation on the plateau, but it's not far from Tipchen Mountain, and you will occasionally run into Shurda monks. What do you think, junior brother?" Ling Yunpo pondered for a moment and immediately made up his mind. In normal times, he might suggest that Senior Sister go to the plateau to survive the tribulation. But Ling Yunpo was attacked on the plateau before, and he killed and took away Shurdayo's blood knife magic weapon. If the Shurdayo gets angry because of this, it may not be a good idea for Senior Sister to go to the plateau to pass the tribulation of this time. Why not just pass the tribulation in Lidanping? Ling Yunpo suggested. Zisu nodded. Rather than saying that he agreed after thinking, it was more like he subconsciously followed his junior brother's advice. Even if Ling Yunpo said, "Let's go to the 10,000 mountains in southern Xinjiang to pass the tribulation," Zisu might have nodded in agreement first. Then think about it carefully, passing the tribulation in the 10,000 mountains in southern Xinjiang is also good. After forming a golden elixir, you can turn around and kill the Donghuangdu monks. Anyway, if you force yourself to find a reason, anything is fine. The two returned to King Luo Peak and packed up their things. Ling Yunpo called Lin Yulanzhen, Julanfen Hagai, Yuan Chinu and others to come and protect the law. It's not that they really need to do anything, but they are mainly worried that someone with ulterior motives will do something bad. If these people are present, they can also scare them off. Is Senior Sister going to form a pill? Lin Yulanzhen asked in surprise. That's right. Ling Yunpo answered seriously, this is Senior Sister's decision. In fact, Senior Sister made the decision after listening to the advice of his junior brother, but Ling Yunpo naturally couldn't say something like manipulating Senior Sister. I see. Lin Yulanzhen nodded and said, without asking what grade of golden elixir it was, in that case, I will go to the scene to protect Senior Sister Anne. Julanfen Hagai agreed very readily. That's right. When Senior Sister is going through the tribulation, I can also see the power of the heavenly tribulation on the spot and prepare a strategy to deal with it in advance. After persuading the two people in succession, Ling Yunpo hit a war with Yuan Chinu. What grade of golden elixir did Senior Sister make? Yuan Chinu said with a smile. That's hard to say. Ling Yunpo did not directly refuse to answer, but flexibly said, I only know that it is roughly a top-grade golden elixir, but is it possible to be a first-grade one? I, your junior brother, can't say for sure. First grade golden elixir. You and Jenny were stunned for a moment, then laughed. If it is really a first grade golden elixir, the next Shushan sect leader must come from King Luo Peak. That's not nonsense. Ling Yunpo interrupted her quickly. The current sect leader hasn't even stepped down yet, but he has already begun to appoint a successor. Do you want to be executed on the golden summit of Imade Mounting? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.